opportunity to thank you for fellowship and family. Today, we are gathered here as one CHED, Marina, and our industry partners as one nation in celebration of your blessings. We come to you in confidence, asking for your guidance and graces as we conduct this afternoon's consultations between the CHED, Marina, and stakeholders from the maritime industry in the spirit of truth and transparency for our seafarers and for your glory. We ask that you would come by with your Holy Spirit and inspire our hearts. Come fill this occasion with your love, fill our discussions with your grace, fill this meeting with your presence. Almighty and most loving for your glory and praise. Amen.
Yep.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, ay masasinanganan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang binirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka pasisigil, sa dagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitigil, makituwin at araw niya, kailan pa may magtitigil. Lumanang araw ng warhabit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone, especially to those who have just joined in the meeting. We would like to acknowledge the presence of our participants for this afternoon. We have here the executives and representatives of maritime higher education institutions and maritime training institutions, licensed manning agencies, shipping companies and shipping organizations, both domestic and international, seafarers, and those watching via Marina Facebook Live. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Likewise, we also welcome the officials and personnel from Maritime Industry Authority led by Administrator Attorney Hernani and Pablia, STCW's OIC Executive Director Mr. Samuel L. Batalla, and OIC Deputy Executive Director Captain Vicente C. Navarro. We also acknowledge the officials and our colleagues from Commission on Higher Education led by Chairperson De Vera, Executive Director Attorney Haro, members of Technical Panel for Maritime Education, as well as the members of the Technical Committees for BSMP and BSMART, and the whole team of the Maritime Education Unit of CHED. Then, since we are doing this public consultation via Zoom, for us to maintain its orderliness, allow us to read our house rules. Number 1, cameras are encouraged to be turned on or provide a clear profile photo. Second, your screen should bear your office or organization followed by your name. Microphones must be muted at all times unless the participant is recognized by the facilitator to speak. Please wait to be recognized before turning your microphones on. Participants may use the raised hand feature if they want to be recognized to speak. If you are using a laptop, you may click the participants icon at the bottom center of the Zoom interface. Then, the list of participants will be shown on the right side, including the raised hand icon. This will notify the facilitators. Comments and questions may also be posted through the Zoom chat menu. Please be reminded that the chat menu is by default addressed to everyone. Change this if your message is for a specific participant only. And lastly, let us make sure to be courteous to everyone during this meeting. To give us the opening remarks, let's hear from the Marina Administrator, Attorney Hernani and Pablo. Sir.
To the officials of the Commission on Higher Education led by Chairperson Prospero de Vera, to Attorney Cinderella Filipina Benitez Haro, Director Cherry Melanie Ancheta Diego, members of the CHED Technical Committee, personnel from the CHED Office of Program Standards Development, to the OIC Executive Director and OIC Executive Director, Deputy Executive Director of the Marina STCW Office, Mr. Samuel Batalla and Captain Vicente Navarro, to the Marina Maritime Education and Training Standards Supervisors, to the personnel of the Marina STCW Office, to the representatives of the Maritime Higher Education Institutions, to our stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a privilege for me to welcome all of you to this public consultation for the proposed amendments to the joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circular numbers 1, 2, and 3, series of 2022. In behalf of the Marina and the Commission on Higher Education, allow me to thank all of you for sharing your precious time with us today to discuss the proposed enhancements that we'll be making on the policies, standards, and guidelines relating to the BSMT and BSMARE programs, including the procedures in the joint evaluation and monitoring of MHEIs. The enhancements that we are proposing is part of our process of continual improvement to be able to provide policies that are not only responsive and fitted to the context of our maritime education systems, but more importantly, ensures our compliance with the requirements of the STCW Convention, in particular, on the implementation of approved education and training. As you may recall, we have completed the second stage of our independent evaluation last December 2022. In compliance with the requirements of Regulation 1/8 of the STCW Convention, during the closing meeting, the evaluators raised a number of concerns that still needs to be addressed by the country in order to display our full compliance with the requirements of the STCW Convention. Among these are the unimplementable requirements and the inconsistencies in JCMMC number 1, series of 2022, wherein reference is still made to some policies which were already considered as obsolete. They also highlighted the need for the full rollout of the course packages for all year levels of the BSMT and BSMARE programs. Taking this into consideration and other areas of improvement, the joint CHED-MARINA Technical Working Group have drafted the proposed amendments to the PSG of the BSMT and BSMARE programs, including the procedures in the joint evaluation and monitoring of MACIs. Today's public consultation is a testament to the government's commitment to transparency and inclusivity in the crafting of its policies. We will be presenting to you today the salient features of the proposed amendments to the joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circulars, and we enjoin every one of you to actively participate and raise your inputs and comments in order for us to finalize the documents. We intend to submit these approved revised policies to the independent evaluators by the end of this month, since this forms part of the country's legal instruments to implement the requirements of the STCW Convention. We look forward to a productive outcome of today's consultation. Again, welcome and thank you very much.
Thank you po, Sir Administrator Fabia, for your message to our participants. And now, to give us the statement of purpose for today's public consultation, may we call OIC Executive Director of the STCW Office, Mr. Samuel L. Batalla. Sir?
Yeah, thank you, Trex. Good afternoon, Administrator, and to the officials of and to all the stakeholders. Thank you for your time to participate in this public consultation. Okay, so allow me to provide a background and the state of purpose of this afternoon's public consultation on the amendments to the existing
Joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circulars Series of 2022. Let's just wait for the to share the screen. Okay na, friends.
Wala.
Pakicheck. Kanina.
Kahit lang.
Saglit lang po. Sorry for the delayed showing of the presentation. Okay. So, next slide. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as a way of background, the recently conducted independent evaluation is one of the obligations of the party to this TCW convention. Siguro po alam niyo naman lahat that nag-undergo tayo ng independent evaluation last year, and that's based on this regulation of this TCW convention under section A1/8, which state that each party shall ensure that an evaluation is periodically undertaken in accordance with the provisions of section A1/8 of the TCW code by qualified persons who are not themselves involved in In addition, a report containing the result of the evaluation required by the paragraph 2 shall be communicated to the Secretary General of the IMO. So in summary, the Philippine administration will be submitting to the IMO Secretary General this February 2023 the result of the conducted independent evaluation of the country's education and training, assessment and certification system, along with all laws, decrees, orders, regulations, and instruments promulgated demonstrating that the Philippines have given full and complete effect to this TCW Convention 1978 as amended. Next slide. To give you a background on the conducted independent evaluation, the Philippines underwent the stage 1 evaluation last March 30 to April 10, 2022. The report of the stage 1 independent evaluation found 15 non-conformities and 63 observations in MARINA-CHED, DOH, and 7 maritime education training institutions visited by the independent evaluators. So in response, the MARINA, in coordination with CHED, DOH, and the concerned maritime education and training institutions, took the necessary measures to rectify the findings and submitted its corrective actions to the evaluators on November 26, 2022. Subsequently, the evaluators returned to the Philippines to conduct the second stage of the independent evaluation on December 14 to 22 last year. That is to validate yung sinabmit natin na corrective actions. So aside from corrective actions na tiningnan nila, The evaluators reviewed all existing policies in place to implement the minimum requirements of this TCW convention. So during the stage 2 closing meeting, which was conducted last December 2022, the evaluators highlighted several key areas of concerns which the Marina and CHED will have to address. So I just want to inform you that during the closing meeting, wala pong iniwan sa atin na report. Okay? Ang independent evaluation. So meron lang mga during the closing meeting, the independent evaluators noted some documents that still need to be submitted sa kanila. Okay? So we were given until the end of the January 2023 to submit this additional compliance document. Now, these additional documents will be the basis of the independent evaluation to finalize their independent evaluation report. That the independent evaluation report will be forwarded to Marina by the independent evaluators by this coming February 2023. And based on that, the Marina will now prepare the independent report to the IMO Secretary General containing the report of the independent evaluators, including the list of laws, regulations of the Philippines related to the implementation of this TCW convention. Now, so yung process po nito, no, once we submit the report, independent report, to the IMO Secretary General, the IMO now will constitute the competent persons who will review our submission. Okay. So meron pong mga 3 or 5 members of competent persons ang magre-review ng ating report. Okay. So then after the review ng competent persons, ibabalik po nila yun sa IMO Secretary General for subsequent submission to the Maritime Safety Committee, which will be held this coming June 2023. Next slide. Okay. So included as one of the concerns raised during the closing meeting is the inconsistencies in the existing JCMMC circular number 1 series of 2022 on the revised PSG for the BSMP and BSMARI program. Specifically, the evaluators noted that while the joint circular expressly repealed CMO 67 series of 2017, CMO 14 series of 2018, and JCMMC number 01 series of 2019, the transitory provision states that students who entered the maritime programs prior to academic year 2020-2023 shall be covered by the CMO number 14 series of 2018 in terms of curriculum and by Annex D of Joint Circular 01-2029 with regard to the requirements of OBT. Moreover, the evaluators noted that the reference to this TCW convention should be accurate and that complete course packages for all year levels should already be rolled out. The evaluators also noted the need to update policies and procedures for the implementation, monitoring, and enforcement of hours of rest and the prevention of drug and alcohol abuse with respect to safety navigation. So these policies, ito pong policies on required rest periods and drug and alcohol abuse ay currently dinedevelop din po ito ng Marina. Okay. Next slide. Okay, to address these concerns, the independent evaluators discussed that there is a need to review, firm up, and clean up or repeal existing obsolete legislation, such as old CMOs JCMMCs, and advisories and other policies. They also highlighted the importance of having a complete course packages for all year levels, since this will substantiate the country's implementation of the approved education as required by the CCW Convention. It was mentioned by the independent evaluators that it would be beneficial for the stakeholders, MHEI students, including the government, to have a single reference policy. Next slide, please. Okay. So based on that po, so these are the concerns raised. Ito po yung basis ng amendment natin ng Joint CHED-MARINA Circular. So just for the information po, the Joint CHED-MARINA technical working group started to review the proposed amendment to the joint circulars, and this was presented to the technical panel for maritime education, which endorsed for approval to the CEB this public consultation. So the CEB in-approve po yung ating itong public consultation ng itong ating proposed amendment to the 3 joint circulars. Okay. Now, to wrap up my presentation and to allow my colleagues to present the amended joint CHED-MARINA circulars, let me elaborate on the basis for the amendment to the existing itong circulars natin. First, ito po yun, as earlier explained, the joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circular contains inconsistencies that needs to be revised and addressed. Second, there were also comments from the evaluators on the need to have a single reference document for all relating to maritime programs. Third, the existing joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circular number 1, series of 2022, does not show a complete program of education and training for operational level officers being implemented, which is a mandatory part of the independent evaluation report. Currently, only the first year level have been completed by Marina and CHED. And ito pong joint circular natin, ito indicates yung staggered implementation ng second year and third year curriculum under the joint this 01-2022. So ito po ay ang sabi po dito ng ating independent evaluators, okay, they cannot mention or include in the report something that is incomplete. Okay. So because according to them, magiging unfavorable daw po yon sa Philippines. Now, the fourth, the evaluator stated that it would be, this one which I mentioned, for the Philippines, unfavorable for the Philippines if an incomplete maritime program in the independent evaluator's report, and will only solicit more questions from the panel of competent persons. So ito po ang ayaw mangyari ng ating independent evaluators, na pag ibinigay ng IMO sa panel of competent persons to review our report, ay ayaw, iyon po ang iniiwasan ng independent evaluators, na magkaroon pa ng maraming clarifications, mga major questions ang competent persons, because this will just delay po yung approval ng ating report. Okay, next. Okay, so yun po. So the purpose of this activity is, of course, to solicit your comments and inputs. As I mentioned, this one is very urgent. Binigyan lang tayong timeline to submit this by January 31. Okay? Because meron din pong mga timelines ang IMO para sa review ng competent persons. And then our target is for our report to be included in the agenda for the next Maritime Safety Committee this coming June 2023. And our yung approval and confirmation ng Maritime Safety Committee sa ating independent evaluation report will be the basis for the inclusion of the Philippines in the what we call the white list. Which the list of the IMO member states that demonstrate full and complete effect to the provisions of this TCW convention. Okay. So yun lang po ano. So that's the reason why we are conducting this public consultation. So thank you for your kind attention. I will now give the floor to my colleague, Attorney Fernand Cabral, to present to you the proposed amendment to the joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circular 01 and 2022. Attorney Cabral will be presenting the content of the amended joint circular, proposed amended circular, and the attachment, which are the curriculum map, program study, and competency mapping, will be presented by our technical personnel. Thank you very much. Attorney Bernard.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Sam, para sa detalyadong statement of purpose. Before we start the main part of the program, we would like to have a photo opportunity with all the participants here. We request everyone to open your cameras and show us. We will take the photos by panels po. So currently, we have 452 participants. So ano po siya, 19 panels. So medyo matagal-tagal po. So hindi lang po tayo sa camera.
Open and
Yes, sir. Buksan ko na ng camera nito.
Diyan ka lang. Okay, bukan.
Hindi ako makapag
Keep your smiles po.
Halfway there. Tingnan ang malalim.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Next panel po.
Thank you everyone. I hope that all of us are now ready for today's public consultation. Pero bago po yun, meron po kaming isa-send na comment form sa ating chat box. So kung meron po kayong mga comments or mga katanungan regarding po sa magiging presentation mamaya ni Attorney Cabral, ay maaari lamang po na pilapan lang po yung comment form.
Send the link to the chat box, please.
For the main part of this program, to present the proposed amendments to CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circular numbers 1, 2, and 3 series of 2023, let us welcome the Division Chief of Legal Division of the STCW Office, Attorney Hernan H. Cabral.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. No? With the permission of our administrator, please allow me to present the proposed amendment Joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circular Number 1 Series of 2023. I am Attorney Ferdinand Cabral, the Division Chief of the Legal Division of STCW Office, Marina. Next. The outline of the presentation are as follows. We'll be providing a background. Next would be the salient amendments of JCMMC 01 series of 2022, and also the action requested from this public consultation activity. Next slide. At the expense of being repetitive, allow me to add an additional background to the why we are proposing to amend this this policy for the JCMMC 01 series of 2022. Stage 2 of the independent evaluation was conducted last December 2022 in order to verify the implementation of the corrective actions submitted by the Philippine maritime industry to address the findings noted by the independent evaluators. During the closing meeting held on December 22, 2022, the independent evaluators highlighted a number of concerns which the country still needs to address in order to display full compliance with the requirements of the STCW Convention 1978 as amended. One of which is the need to review and revise the existing joint CHED-MARINA memorandum circulars in order to repeal obsolete legislations and to have a single reference document in the implementation of policies, standards, and guidelines for BSMT and BSMARE programs. The independent evaluators also highlighted the need for the completion of the course packages for all year levels, since this forms part of the country's implementation of the approved education and training under the STCW Convention. Finding basis on the deficiencies noted by the independent evaluators, the administration recommends to maintain the existing maritime education and training system, wherein the maritime education and training programs contain some components of the management level under Regulation 2/2 and Regulation 3/2, pursuant to CHED Memorandum Orders 67 and 14, which are currently in effect for the second year, third year, and fourth year levels. The amended JCMMCs, along with their annexes, are to be approved and to be submitted to the independent evaluators by January 31, 2023. Next slide. Shown on the screen is the activity that we have undertaken prior to the consultation today. As discussed earlier, Stage 2 independent evaluation was conducted last December 22. As a result, especially the need to amend or revise JCMMC 01 series of 2022, series of technical working group meetings composing of Marina personnel were conducted. The objective or the main objective of which is to come up with an initial draft of the revised JCMMC 01, which will serve as the working draft between the Marina and the Commission on Higher Education. The initial working draft was transmitted to CHED, and the same was discussed on the second week of January with the presence of the representatives from the Commission and the technical committee members. On January 17, 2023, the team from Marina, headed by the administrator, went to CHED mainly to emphasize the urgency of the issuance of the revised JCMMCs. The meeting was also attended by Assistant Secretary from the TOTR, Asekiano, and Assistant Secretary from the Executive Office of the Office of the Executive Secretary, Asek Medina. And during the discussion, it was agreed that instead of the revision of JCMMC 01 2022, its amendment is sufficient, since the revision of the policies, standards, and guidelines is usually being done after 4 years from its implementation. However, on the part of the administration, it was suggested that the management level component should not be removed from the policy, since CMO 67 and 14 contain the management level component. Existing second year and third year students For purposes of compliance with the findings of the independent evaluation and to ensure timely submission, its curriculum to be utilized for the second year and third year students. On the other hand, on the part of the commission, it has to be removed from education or from BS, since the curriculum being offered on the current first year level doesn't have the management component. The issue has not been resolved during that meeting. Thus, February 18, 2023, another technical working group meeting was conducted within the Marina, wherein the administrator directed the group that we have to revert back to CHED Memorandum Order number 67 and 14 for the second year and third year students applicable for those students enrolled for academic year 2022-2023. Based on the directive given, the working draft of JCMMC 01 series of 2023 was adjusted, especially the curriculum, which will serve as attachment aligned with CMO 67, 14, and JCMA 02. And on January 19, 2023, joint CHED-MARINA meeting was held, where it was agreed that we have to revert back to CMO 67 and 14 and JCMA 02 with the condition to ensure that the curriculum will also be aligned with the submission made to EMSA as part of the corrective measures that we have submitted, and to address the gap, if there is any, between the curriculum under JCMMC 01 2022 being implemented for students enrolled under academic year 2022 and 2023, and the curriculum being implemented under CMO 67 and 14 and GCMA 02. The draft GCMMC 01 2023 was finalized on January 2023 and later on presented for approval of the TPMA last January 23, 2023. The same was presented to the TPMA in its special meeting and recommended for approval to the CHED-MARINA for public consultation, which the CHED-MARINA approved last January 25, 2023 in its Commission and Bank meeting. Hence, we are this public consultation. Next, shown on the screen is the 24 back. So I stand corrected. It's January 24 when the CHED-MARINA was held, and wherein also that wherein this policy was also approved for public consultation. Shown on the screen is the subject or the enhanced subject. So instead of revising the JCMMC number 1 series of 2022, and as agreed between the MARINA and CHED, an amendment is necessary or sufficient. Next slide. For reference, it is an understanding by the independent evaluators and by the IMO panel of competent persons, and as a guidance provided by the independent evaluators during the independent evaluation, we were advised that some of the terms that were defined under 01 2022 be enhanced or simplified. In the course of the review, the group or the joint technical working group deems necessary that we have to also define other terms that were used under the body in order to ensure that these terms or important terms should easily be understood by the independent evaluators and during the review by the panel of competent persons. So yan po yung mga in-enhance natin at idinagdag na definition sa ating proposed amendment. Na ito po yung mga additional na to ay wala po sa ating 01 2020. Next slide. Article 4, no, as shown on the screen. We would like to emphasize that during the independent evaluation, the independent evaluators made a query as to what is this sum, no? Under regulation or tables A2/2, ano po ba itong sum na to? And the advice given that we have to identify this sum, which is a management level component part of the education. Since we need to address that query, we made emphasis on the attachment, no? And the attachment for BSMT is Annex B1, for BS-MARI is Annex B2, These are the curriculum maps that were developed, or enhanced curriculum maps
Hi, sir.
that were developed in line with CMO 67 and 14 and GCM 02, which later on we will be
Kasi mahina kasi ang mahina eh, kaya nagpapanay ang comment ko ng ano eh. Hindi na
mahina.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, allow me to continue. No? As I said earlier, these attachments are the enhanced curriculum maps that were developed in line with CMO 67, 14, and JCMA 02. Next slide. Next slide is just a reiteration of the attachment that we'll be providing. This is the enhanced curriculum map insofar as the BSMP is concerned. Next slide. Insofar as BS-MARI is concerned, again, the curriculum map was also enhanced and also will be serving as an attachment, no, to this proposed amended policy. Next slide. Section 8, we made some enhancement and also a requirement on the part of the MHCIs. We're taking into consideration the components stipulated in Section 7, based po sa draft. The following shall be developed by the MHCIs and submit the same for approval by the Commission and the Maritime Administration. The detailed teaching syllabus, the instructor's guide, lesson plans, course assessment and assessment tools. Further, for further verification, for the said course will be undertaken during the joint CHED-MARINA evaluation and inspection. Next slide. On the conduct of evaluation, inspection, and monitoring, so we remove the original provisions by simply stating that all applicant HCIs shall be subjected to evaluation and inspection under JCMMC 02 series of 2023. So all the provisions relevant to the conduct of evaluation and inspection were now transferred to JCMMC 02 series of 2023 proposed amendment. And on the other hand, the conduct of monitoring of maritime education and training programs shall now be governed by the JCMMC series 03 series of 2023. So meaning to say all the provisions regarding the monitoring activity will now be transferred to proposed JCMMC 03 series of 2023. Next slide. Section 45 of 01 series of 2022, these were proposed to be deleted since, as I said earlier, the category of findings were now transferred to the proposed JCMMC 03 series of 2023. Doon po natin makikita yun po mga category of findings. Next slide. Section 43 of the proposed amendment is a new insertion. This is in line with the requirement of the Executive Order number 63, which further strengthens the authority of the Marina when it comes to maritime education and training programs. Also found under Section 5 of the implementing rules and regulations. So allow me to read. The Maritime Administration, upon receipt of a verified complaint, shall conduct surveillance of any maritime higher education institution offering maritime education and training programs to further ensure that such programs are implemented in accordance with existing applicable law, policies, standards, and guidelines issued by the Maritime Administration and the Commission and the CCW Convention 1978 as amended. That provision was just taken from no other than the law itself, the Executive Order number 63 and its implementing rules and regulations. So the instances wherein the surveillance activity will be conducted were also laid down. No? First, it's the advertisement or publication of any advertisement or announcement for BSMTN or BS-MARI programs before a permit to operate is granted by the Commission. Next, implementation of the conduct of unapproved education programs that have singular title or content as any of the approved maritime education training programs by the Commission, tending to deceive the learner or the public that such programs are approved and compliant with the CCW Convention 1978 as amended, whether intentional or not. The other ground is the issuance of any certificate, degree, or title relating to BSMT and or BS-MARI programs without prior permit or authorization issued by the Commission. Next, the continuing to offer a phase out or closed up maritime education and training program. Operation of a branch or extension, whether locally or foreign based, without the permit or authorization issued by the Commission. And lastly, non-compliance with existing policy standards and guidelines for BSMT and or BS-MARI programs. And surveillance report shall be endorsed by the Office of the Executive Director to the CHED OPSD for transmittal to the TPME for appropriate action. Now, kung mamaya po kung magiging tanong, exclusive po ba yan? Ito lang po yung mga instances that the surveillance activity will be conducted. Next slide. One of the provisions which caught the attention of the independent evaluators is Section 51 in relation later on to Section 53, if I'm mistaken, or the transitory provisions. Allow me to shortly discuss the concern of the independent evaluator insofar as Section 51 is concerned. According to them, Section 51 and Section 53 are very much confusing, based on the reason that you have already repealed all existing issuances, and yet under the transitory provision, you are still using the same issuance, no, which are already repealed here under Section 51 or on the provision of the repealing clause. Now, the guidance that was given by the independent evaluator is to ensure that all the previous issuances, insofar as PSCs are concerned, all applicable board provisions there, put that in your proposed policy in order to have single reference document. This will address the main concern. So this insofar as this provision is concerned, of the independent evaluators, na kailangan lang po, may isang dokumento lang po tayo. Kaya kung mapapansin niyo po dyan, we also included JCMMC number 1 series of 2022 as a previous issuance that we will also be proposing to be repealed. No? However, yun pong mga provisions ng 01-2022, inadapt po natin dito. Meron lang po tayong mga in-enhance. So basically, kung ano po yung mga applicable provisions sa 01-2022, inadapt na po natin dito. So sa amin po palagay, pwede na po siyang ma-repeal. Otherwise, kung magkakaroon lang po ng amendment, at isasite po natin dyan, na amended lang po ang 01-2022 under Section 51. Ang mangyayari po dyan, dalawang dokumento pa rin po ang titingnan ng ating mga evaluators, which will not address the concern of having only one or single reference document in the implementation of policies, standards, and guidelines for BSMT and or BS-MARI programs. Next slide. Under Section 53, as I said earlier, this also caught the attention of the independent evaluators. No? Dahil lang binabanggit po nila, i-repeal nyo na nung nakaraan, and yet binabanggit nyo pa dyan, ang gusto nilang makita, pag-repeal na. Kung ano yung applicable sa transitory provision, do not cite it anymore. You can get the provision applicable, cite nyo po dyan. So since we are now proposing to amend the 01-2022, it also included the amendment as we deem necessary, the attachments. One of which is the curriculum attached to the 01-2022 vis-a-vis the curriculum that were not developed or enhanced curriculum that were not developed and will form part of this policy as an attachment. And for those students who entered the first year of the Maritime program for academic year 2022-2023, yung pungkaring first year natin ngayon, are covered by JCMMC 01 series of 2022. However, for the succeeding years, they will now be covered by this proposed amended policy. Henceforth, all those students who will enroll in the Maritime program for academic year 2023-2024 or for the next academic year will now be governed by this circular. Next slide. Shown on the screen, ito po yung mga attachments natin. Malaki po ang pagkakaiba nito dun sa 01-2022. Basically, yung arrangement po na yan, hindi po in line sa 01-2022. But, all those attachments, nandun po yan sa body ng ating pinopropose na policy. So later on, on your working draft, weekly draft, makikita nyo po yan na wala na po yung mga naka-strike out na yan. Next slide. So action requested from our stakeholders for comments po of the submitted of the proposed. Di ba?
5 minute break.
Hindi mo.
Tapos po, 5 minute break, then sa dulo po lahat ng comments.
I-present na dito. Hindi mo naman.
Ano bang
Sunod-sunod na.
Pero 5 minutes per.
Advice of the Secretariat to our dear stakeholders, no? As an arrangement, we will be presenting all the JCMMCs muna po. Kindly reserve all your comments. And later on, we will discuss one by one for each policy that 30 minutes to per. So we will be given 30 minutes to have an open forum.
for JCMC 1?
So we were given 30 minutes for each proposed policy, but for now, please allow us to have a 5-minute break. Then after that, upon our return, we will present JCMMC 02 in the same manner. So far as 03 is concerned, ganoon na rin po ang gagawin natin. So please bear with us. I-reserve lang muna po natin yung mga comments natin. Thank you very much. 5-minute break muna po tayo.
We proceed sa ating next na presentation. We would also like to acknowledge the presence of Assistant Secretary for Maritime, Attorney Julius Yano. Magandang hapon po, Ase.
Magandang hapon po. Good afternoon, sirs, madam.
At paalala po ulit, nag-send po kami sa chat box po ng ating Zoom ng comment form na pwede nyo pong fill upan kung sakaling may mga komento po kayo sa ating mga presentation. Maraming salamat po.
Tapos na ba kung wala po kapalit, hindi mo na prepare na nasa frame. Na-frame na? Ayan, basta. Ang sa-test na, wala pa.
Send.
Sa mom?
Thank you. Tanggalin na sa presentation.
Bago po tayo dumako sa pangalawang presentation po, pinapaalala po namin sa lahat na nag-send po kami ng dalawang link sa chat box. Ang isa po doon ay ang attendance link at ang isa naman po ay comment form. So fill up na lang po kayo sa dalawang link. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. Hinga muna. Good afternoon po ulit. Ano? Next slide. So the presentation outline for this proposed amendment on JCMMC 02 series of 2022. Outline as follows. We will now be dispensing with the background. It's the same as already discussed earlier. So the outline of the presentation are as follows: the salient amendments and the action requested from our dear stakeholders. This policy is the guidelines and procedures on the joint CHED-MARINA evaluation inspection of higher education institutions applying for government authority to operate Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation or Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering programs. Next slide. As mentioned earlier, the subject was just enhanced to the extent that instead of revision, it will now serve as the amended version of JCMMC 02 series of 2022. Next slide. Just like on JCMMC 01 2022, there were definitions that were enhanced under 02 2022 and also an additional term, the Maritime Education and Training Programs. But these terms are also aligned with the provisions under JCMMC 01 series of 2023 proposed amendment. Next slide. Section 6 of the proposed amendment, which is originally section 11 on 02 series of 2022. If you may notice, we have included or added a term as a basis for the evaluation.
Bakit reading naman iyon?
Oh, the added requirement on the or basis or key area was a result of the technical panel maritime education meeting, wherein one of the TPMA members suggested that we also have to include the previous monitoring findings as one of the key areas. This is insofar as the application for recognition is concerned. So dinagdag po natin yan, dinagdag po natin yung proposal, but limited lang po ito when it comes to the application for recognition. Next slide. On the requirement for CHED-MARINA evaluators, it was also agreed during the joint EWG CHED-MARINA meeting that one of the evaluators from the administration of the commission must have completed training on the IMO model courses 6.09 and 3.12. Next slide. On the list of prohibited acts, if you may notice under section 14 of 02 series of 2022, there are only two instances or situations that may be considered as prohibited acts. But under section 25 of the proposed, we made an addition, or we have provided an addition, which addition came from the 2014 implementing rules and regulations of RA 10635. At the same time, based on CMO Section 65 of CMO 40. So also an added provision on this Section 25 that in case during the conduct of evaluation inspection, a prohibited act was identified, then there will be an immediate termination of the conduct of evaluation inspection, and the same will be endorsed by the Office of the Executive Director to the CHED OPSD for appropriate action. So HCIs which have been found to have committed any of the prohibited acts shall be disqualified to apply for maritime education and training programs for a period of 5 years from the receipt of the decision thereof. So additional provision po natin to ensure po na yung mga applicant natin ay kumpleto at maayos po ang application at hindi po sila mag-engage sa mga ganyang activity. Documentary text. Section 12, which is originally Section 7 of JCMMC 02 series of 2022. We also have an added provision that dito po kasi sa Section 17, kapag ka po may nakita na may deficiency, automatic po na i-disapprove na po yung application. But dito po sa proposal natin, in case there is a finding of deficiency during the documentary review, the applicant HCI shall have a period of 30 calendar days to rectify the findings from the receipt of the notice of deficiency. Otherwise, the application shall be disapproved without prejudice to reapplication in the next academic year. Then the STCW office shall endorse the report to the CHED OPSD, who will inform the HCI of the disapproval of the application, copy furnished the Maritime Administration, STCW Office Accreditation Division. That's also an added provision insofar as the proposed amendment is concerned. Next slide. On the provision of evaluation inspection, we made a further enhancement on this. So applications which are compliant with the requirements shall be evaluated and inspected on the mutually agreed schedule by the Joint Commission Maritime Administration Evaluation Inspection Team, but not exceeding 30 calendar days from receipt of the report by the HCI from the CHED OPSD, copy furnished Maritime Administration STCW Office Accreditation Division. The previous monitoring report, as I said earlier, ito po yung napadagdag natin sa key area so far as application for recognition is concerned. So the previous monitoring report shall be part of the evaluation before an MHCI is granted the recognition of maritime education and training programs for the 3rd and 4th year levels. Thus, the grant of recognition requires that the MHCI has no outstanding monitoring findings. So malaki po yung enhancement na ginawa natin dito on the provision of evaluation inspection. Next. Okay. On the provision of the deliberation of findings, so if you will notice under the 02 series of 2022, during the TWG meeting, medyo bitin po yung statement under 02 series of 2022. Hence, we provided an additional provision for this in order to make sure na yung proseso po nito ay may po-provide natin also for the guidance of our evaluation inspection team. So the HCIs which have been found non-compliant should be issued notice of deficiency and shall be given the opportunity to comply and submit further corrective action. So the HCI's application is recommended for further corrective action based on the results of the evaluation inspection shall be given an opportunity to address the notice of deficiencies or address noted deficiencies and submit a compliance report with supporting documents to CHED OPSD within 30 calendar days from the receipt of the inspection report. Then the CHED OPSD shall forward the compliance report submitted by the applicant HCI to Marina SCCW Office Accreditation Division within 3 working days from receipt thereof. Then the Accreditation Division shall now forward the report within 3 working days to the designated evaluation inspection team for review. then the AIT shall review the report within 10 working days from the receipt thereof. If the compliance report addresses the findings, then the inspection shall be conducted to verify its full compliance. If it's not fully compliant, it should be recommended for disapproval. If the result of the inspection does not address the findings, then the application shall be recommended also for its approval. Next slide. On the provisions of the closing meeting, during the discussion, ang nakita po rito, may mga pagkakataon po na kung saan yung ating pong representative ng HCI during the closing meeting, hindi po nag-agree sa mga findings ng ating evaluation inspection team. If you will notice on the 02 series of 2022, there is no provision providing guarantee on the part of the inspection team that the concerns of the representatives of the HCI will be entertained during the presentation sa TPME. Hence, during the TWG meeting, nag-propose po tayo. This is an added provision. This is a protection of the applicant HCI, if I may say. The HCI shall have a period of 30 calendar days to rectify the findings from the receipt of the evaluation the result from AIT. Otherwise, the findings shall become final and the application shall be disapproved. So in relation po doon sa sinasabi ko kanina na added provision para po sa applicant HCI, para naman po yung kanilang mga objections doon sa findings ay ma-entertain during the presentation sa TPME, we inserted or added this provision. However, in the event that the findings of the AIT are not acceptable to HCI representatives, the HCI may state its objections or reservations in the remarks portion of the evaluation inspection form, notwithstanding its acknowledgement of the AIT findings. So meaning to say, not because in-acknowledge nyo po yung findings ng AIT, nagko-confirm na kayo. May portion po doon na kung saan ang applicant HCI makapaglalagay ng kanilang mga objections over the findings of the AIT, which will form part of the presentation of the inspection team sa TPME when the same is deliberated for evaluation and approval of the TPME. Next slide. On the repealing clause, again, just the same sa ating 01-2022. Ito pong ating 02-2022 is also being proposed to be repealed, basically to meet the objective of having one or single reference document insofar as the conduct of evaluation and inspection is concerned. Next slide. Since there is still a moratorium on the application for to operate BSMT or BSMRE programs, under the transitory provision, all applications to operate METPs received prior to the effectivity of the moratorium to apply shall be processed in accordance with the procedures and guidelines on the conduct of evaluation and inspection existing prior to the effectivity of this circular. Next slide. Again, this proposed policy also for comments of our dear stakeholders. Again, kindly reserve po yung ating pong mga questions, comments, queries insofar as this policy concerned. As mentioned earlier, we will also now be having another 5-minute break. Then I'll be presenting later on the last policy that we will be proposing, the amendment of JCMMC 03 series of 2022. Thank you very much. 5 minutes. Grade N ba yun? That's next. Guidelines and procedure. Okay na nakamit ba tayo? Okay. Good afternoon once again, ano? We will now resume, no? So this is the last proposed policy. And this policy, next slide. And this policy is the guidelines on the conduct of monitoring or joint monitoring. Evaluation special. Guidelines on guidelines. Monitoring on joint CHED-MARINA, event evaluation special.
Sorry, sir.
Typo, may typo ako. Palitan nyo ng monitoring.
Ayun.
Okay, sorry for the delay. There's just a typo error that we have just rectified, no, on the presentation. So this presentation is outlined as follows. The salient amendments and the action requested. Again, we'll be dispensing with background as the same as provided earlier in my earlier presentation. So this policy involves the guidelines and procedures on joint CHED-MARINA monitoring, Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation, and our Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering programs, series of 2022 as amended. Next slide. So instead of provision, gaya po ng nabanggit ko kanina, this document will now serve as the amended version of JCMMC 003 series of 2022. Next slide. The enhanced provisions are also provisions that were taken from JCMMC 01 series of 2023 proposal, which will serve as the model document for the 02 or in the 03 series of 2023 amended policy. So and also the terms or the provisions and the definition of terms are enhanced, but the meaning or the meaning of those were just the same. On 03 series of 2022, one of the category of findings that should be there is the observation, no? As explained by our monitoring team, who's actively participating. The members of which are actively participating in the conduct of monitoring. But there has to be an observation as one of the findings. Because if even po na makita nila na ito yung observation lang, hindi po nila mailagay. Ito po yung makatutulong sa mga ating MHCIs, no? Na kung meron po nito, may improve po nila yung ano man ang naobserbahan ng ating monitoring team. So that's the significance of adding as one of the category of findings the term observation. Next slide. Under the proposed provision on Article 5 of JCMMC 03 series of 2023, if you will notice under the left column, the MHCI will be required to submit the necessary documents 2 months or 60 days before the actual monitoring. During the TPMA meeting, the guidance given is that to reduce or shorten the period for submission. Hence, under the proposal, it should not be less than 30 days before the actual monitoring will be conducted. No? However, the monitoring activity will still pursue in case the MHCI failed to submit the required documents. Ano po yung significance nito? Mas madali po magagawa yung monitoring activity kung may advanced copy na po at nakapag-tabletop evaluation na po ang monitoring team bago po pumunta sa institution to conduct the monitoring activity properly. Next slide. During the conduct of monitoring, we identified the possible prohibited acts that may be committed by our institution. No? So ito pong mga prohibited acts na to were lifted from the CMO 40 on the Manual of Regulations for Private Higher Education, and also from the 2014 Implementing Rules and Regulations of RA 10635. So instead of citing those statutes or policies, no, nilagay na lang po natin kung ano yung mga applicable provisions dyan. Basically also to address that as the evaluators comment that as much as possible, you just take all the applicable provisions and put that in your proposed amended policy rather than citing the law or policies applicable in order to avoid the cross-referencing. Again, single reference document ang ina-address po nito. Okay, next slide. So on the review and transmission of the official report, kung mapapansin niyo po dito sa ating left column, under 03 series of 2022, it is referring to the CHED-MARINA Secretariat, which is hindi na po dati kinukonsider ngayon. Ang report po ngayon ay diretso na sa so the monitoring team will submit the report to the Office of the Executive Director, and after that, it will be communicated to the CHED-OPST, or it will be endorsed to the CHED-OPST. Then after which, upon receipt of the report, the CHED-OPST shall immediately forward the reports to the technical panel for maritime education for its appropriate action or resolution. And the TPME, upon determination on the sufficient basis for the issuance of show cause order against MHCI, shall submit its recommendation the CHED Office of the Executive Director for the issuance of show cause order. For information of our dear stakeholders, hindi na po bago itong provision na to. Sa 01-2022, wala na pong binabanggit doon ng submission ng compliance after the conduct of monitoring activity. Under Section 45 of 01 series of 2022, after the conduct of monitoring activity, pagka po may findings, sasabit po ito sa CHED-OPSD to the Office of the Executive Director. Then after that, the CHED-OPSD will endorse the same to TPME for appropriate action. And if the TPME finds that show cause order is necessary, then show cause order na po. The question is, paano po ang MHCI? No? Yun po yung pagkakataon ng ating mga MHCIs to submit their compliance. All the pieces of evidence that they need to submit in support of their claims na yung pong findings ay hindi tama, ilalagay nyo na po doon. And then after that, next slide tayo. After that, after submission of the answer within 15 calendar days from receipt of the order, and show cause why no administrative sanction shall be imposed against it, it will now be referred to the Commission's legal service, together with the monitoring team. And upon discussion with the Maritime Administration, Executive Director's Office, it will be resolved within 15 calendar days from the receipt of the answer or from the lapse of the period to file an answer. The Commission's legal service will now be submitting its recommendation to the Technical Panel for Maritime Education through the CHED-OPST for its appropriate action. Then, the TPME to endorse the same to the CHED and bank. So again, hindi po ito bago itong provision na to. Nasa 01-2022. Nilagay lang po natin dito sa 03 series of 2023 because dun po sa unang bahagi ng aking presentation, sinabi na po natin, all applicable provisions to monitoring will now be transferred to JCMMC number 3 series of 2023. Next. So these are the deleted provisions. Ito po yung mga affected provisions in view of the shortening of the procedure insofar as the result of the monitoring activity is concerned. Yung Article 9, wala na pong corrective actions. Answer po ang isasagot dito with 15 calendar days from the receipt. Then, yung po transmittal of corrective actions to monitoring team, wala na rin po yan. Kasi po, it will now be transmitted to the TPME for their appropriate action. Then, following the procedure under the, as I mentioned earlier, as I discussed earlier, hindi na po applicable itong mga provisions nito. Hence, to be deleted na po. Next slide. So, on the repealing clause, at the expense of being repetitive, to have a single reference document, i-repeal na po natin yung 03 series of 2022. And we will now refer to this policy as the single reference document insofar as monitoring is concerned. Now, prior to the effectivity of this circular, ano po yung i-apply? Then 03 series of 2022, yun pa rin po ang governing procedure natin pagdating sa conduct ng monitoring activity. So our action requested, again, for comments of our dear stakeholders, nasa si 5 minutes wait. So that would be all for comments of the of our dear stakeholders. So again, we will be requesting for a 5-minute break before we entertain all the queries, questions, or concerns insofar as these three proposed policies are concerned. Once again, I'm Attorney Fernand Cabral, Division Chief of the Legal Division at the CCW Office. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Magilabot, hindi magilabot.
Thank you, Attorney Cabral, for the detailed presentation on the 3 draft memorandum circulars. At this juncture, we will now accommodate questions and comments from our stakeholders. As said earlier, and as our usual protocol, we may use the raise hand button if you want to be recognized. You can also use our chat box for you to state your questions. We will try to accommodate as many questions and comments as possible, given the limited time that we have. As such, we also request our participants to limit and give the direct concerns or questions only. So we now have a first question. Question number 1. When will parts A, B, and C be available for the higher years? Will this be available before the opening of academic year 2023 to 2024?
Yes, thank you for that questions. I will ask my colleague John Ray Calderon to answer the question. Sir John Ray, please. Good afternoon po. Gusto ko lang I just wish to clarify, make some clarification po on the question. Is this question with reference or referring to the standardized curriculum that was envisioned prior to this proposed JCMMC? If that is what we are referring to po, apparently as mentioned during the presentation, the standardized curriculum for BSMT and BS-MARI program, which will supposedly provide these parts that is being referred to, are still being developed. So since it is the case, the standardization of this curriculum will still continue, and eventually, once it is finished and ready for implementation fully, then that's the time that all of these parts of the expected or supposed course packages for BSMT and BS-MARI will be made available po. So in the meantime, the proposed JCMMC prescribe some of the course documents which will serve as guide by the MHEIs for their program curricula, as what has been done and practiced in the past in the implementation of our previous CMO 67 and 14, and even the prior CMOs that have been promulgated and implemented by the government, particularly by CHED and MARINA. So that is the response po to the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir John Ray. Proceed po tayo sa pangalawang katanungan mula sa ating chat box. Will the CHED-MARINA continue monitoring the MHEI even the JCMMC 01 are still in revised status? Anyone from MARINA?
Let me respond to that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, definitely po. The conduct of monitoring of MHEIs will continuously conducted jointly by CHED and MARINA. We have actually prepared the annual monitoring program for MHEIs, and it's now for approval of CHED and MARINA. Okay, so meron na po tayo ni schedule, and we will conduct continuously the monitoring. And yun po, siguro you are all aware that ang monitoring natin ngayon is a 3-year cycle. Kasi we cannot cover all of the MHEIs in 1 year. Okay, so we introduce po yung monitoring scheme na 3-year cycle. So yun po, tuloy-tuloy po yung monitoring natin. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Sam. Proceed po tayo sa next question from, naka-raise po ng hand si Dr. Marvin Hapitana. Sir, you are recognized.
Yes, can you hear me, sir?
Yes po, sir. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon po everyone. Good afternoon po sa mga kasama natin sa industriya. I only have one question regarding doon sa provision na regarding teaching load 11.8 on the JCMMC 01 series of 2022 and 2023. Yes, in the teaching load, there is one provision that was been deleted. Is that accidentally or purposely? Ang deleted po na statement was, however, a faculty member with a documented very satisfactory teaching performance may be allowed to handle additional 6 hours per week. On the new JCMMC 01 series 2023, that provision was been deleted. Can you enlighten us, please?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Capitana, for the questions. May we ask our counterpart from CHED if they have answer for that? And anyone from CHED to answer that? Okay, so anyway, thank you for that question, Dr. Kapitana. We will take note of that. We will further discuss that and we'll give you an update. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, can I have additional question, please? Regarding JCMMC 03?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
03.
Yes, sir. Okay, that was 01 previously. And 03, series of 2023, I would like to make suggestions if you can rephrase the definition of terms for the conflict of interest. I would like,
Conflict of interest.
yes. Because on the yes, sir. Because on the definition, it was it seems to be vague and it's not clear. So it is on the right time to have this kind of enhancement. I would like to suggest that you have to consider that term, a conflict of interest. Thank you.
Yes, kindly send us your proposal, your proposed definition of conflict of interest. Thank you, Dr. Kapitana.
Thank you.
Salamat po, Dr. Kapitana. Next question po from
With the permission of our OIC Executive Director, no, just point of order lang siguro po. For the 30-minute po allotted time, according to the Secretariat, i-allot lang po natin yung 30-minute period sa JCMMC 01 muna. Tapos yun po another 30 minutes later on sa 02, and then another 30 minutes later on sa 03. So 01 lang muna po ang ating focus ng mga queries or concerns po. Thank you very much po. Sige, Terz.
Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po, nag-raise po ng hand si Captain Jaime Makawili. Sir, you are recognized po.
Yes, sir. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Nadidinig po ba ako?
Good afternoon. Opo, yes, clear and sir.
Okay. Thank you po. No? Just this day, January 26, merong additional message galing from CHED, sending of annexes, mga with relevant to this convention of ours. No? Doon makita ko yung BSMT and BS-MARI curriculum. They are entirely different from the curriculum that we have been instructed to use for first year. Ang first year namin na curriculum was instructed by written, approved by both the former administrator, the admiral and CHED commissioner, chairperson. Na ang gagamitin namin sa first year curriculum was based on JCMMC number 1 series of 2021. Pero yung nakikita kong ginawa nilang sample, yung pinakita nila ngayong additional, is entirely different. Galing ata sa old na curriculum yun eh. And then there's another one. So, can we get a clearer picture on what curriculum are we going to use? Para naman kasi hindi kami masyadong nalilito sa mga pangyayaring ito, sir. Thank you,
Yes,
sir, for answering my question clearly.
Thank you very much, Cap Makawili. Yeah, tama po kayo, that is actually one of the reasons why we are proposing this amendment. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, there was an observation from the independent evaluators during the closing meeting that they cannot include in the report something that is incomplete. Now, siguro po alam nyo naman na yung curriculum under JCMC 01-2022, ang kompleto pa lang right now ay yung first year. Okay? Second year and third year ay ginagawa pa po, dinidevelop pa natin, including yung sa 4th year. Okay. So, and because of that, it was agreed, okay, during a discussion with CHED, that we will revert to the curriculum curriculum under CMO 67 and CMO 14. Okay, but subject to enhancement. Okay, so yun na po. We are not sure yet kasi supposedly yung kumuha ng first year ngayon, ang kukunin niya this academic year ay yung second year na under the standardized curriculum ng JCMMC 01 2022. But since it's not yet available, no, marami pa hong dadaanan na process yan for approval and before it will be rolled out to the MHEIs. So kaya po, kumbaga sa ano, since existing naman po yung CMO 67 and CMO 14 na ginagamit ng second year ngayon and third year, okay, eh yun na lang muna yung pinopropose natin dito na ituloy gamitin. Diba? Kasi hindi pa nga po available. Ang ating intention is to complete first the standardized curriculum and course packages before we will implement that. So ngayon po, tuloy-tuloy muna tayo sa CMO 67 and CMO 14. Yun po yung kukunin natin, ilalagay natin yung curriculum map, program of study, and course specs dito sa bago nating amended joint circulars. So yun po yung gagamitin natin ngayon na curriculum. Subject to enhancement, of course, to address yung mga naging observation ng EMSA. Okay po.
Thank you for the reply, sir. May request lang ako kung pwedeng pwede sir paki-put in writing para mag-guide kami kung ano talaga ang itutuloy, kung ano yung ihinto. Kindly please put that in writing kasi medyo mahina po ang dating ng sound sa amin. Mahina po yung internet, unstable po yung internet namin. Paki-guide lang po kami, put it in writing so that we will be guided kung ano yung itutuloy namin sa first year, sa second year, sa third year, kung anong year yung pagbabasihan namin. So that guided po kami, properly guided. Maraming salamat po mga sir.
Yeah, for the meantime, sir, our request is since you mentioned that you were provided already a copy of the proposed enhanced curriculum map and program of study and competency mapping. We would solicit your comment and input on that. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We will provide you. We will communicate with you the instruction about that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And before I forgot, by the way, we will all magkakandak pa rin naman tayo ng orientation about this one sa implementation ito once this one is approved. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po sa katanungan at suggestion, Captain Makawili. Next naman po na nag-raise ng hand. Paalala lang po pala ulit, ang mga sasagutan pa lang po namin sa unang 30 minuto ay kaugnay lamang po sa JCMMC 01. So next po is Dr. Joseph Toledo. You are now recognized, sir.
Good afternoon po sa ating lahat.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is related to the question of Captain Makawili regarding the implementation of our curriculum. And in our case, we are in the stage of implementing the second semester of the curriculum based on the 2022 amendments, 2022 Joint Memorandum Circular regarding the implementation of the detailed teaching syllabus or course package. Sa ngayon, for example, in our BSMT program, natapos na namin yung Seamanship 1, nasa Seamanship 2 na kami, which is magiging conflict dito sa dito pagbabalik tayo sa old. Paano naman yung itong mga first year namin na magse-second year na, nakatapos na? That is my question. Siguro makikita nyo na dun sa comparison ng 2023 sa ngayon. Yung 2023 kasi parang bumabalik dun sa CMO 67. Pag titingnan yung course package, which nag-submit na rin kami ng documentation requirements sa CHED and Marina.
Thank you, Dr.
Lang po, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Sir Johnson, you can answer.
Sige, Sir Sam, just want to make some response po kay Dr. Toledo. Hi, good afternoon, Sir Joseph Toledo. Sir, ganito po, no, yung under JCMMC number 1, series of 2022 po, it was provided po doon that those students who enrolled prior to the issuance of that JCMMC are basically covered by CMO 67 and 14. CMO 67 series of 2017 and CMO 14 series of 2018. So, on the upon effectivity po nung JCMMC number 1 series of 2022, ang nakalagay po doon, yung first year po ng academic year 2022-2023, which is the current academic year, they are covered po by the standardized curriculum first year under that JCMMC, which is nga po yun po yung currently on the process of development and pilot testing nga po. So, yun pong mga second year ngayong panahon na ito, this current academic year, including the third year, it means po that they are still taking the curriculum in accordance with CMO 67 and 14. So they will graduate following that curriculum. Kasi nga po, as mentioned in our discussion, the standardized curriculum within which the first year level was offered this academic year, hindi pa po tapos. So para po tayo ay hindi magkaroon ng namang mas malaking gap na pagdating po ngayong second year natin, ito pong ating second year standardized curriculum, hindi pa po tapos nga at ginagawa pa, ipapilot test pa rin. Ito pong JCMMC na pinopropose natin, will adopt the curriculum provided under CMO 67 and 14. Hindi lang ho natin sasabihin dito or sinasite na ini-implement pa rin natin yung 67 and 14. But basically, the content of the curriculum annexed to this JCMMC is what was provided under 67 and 14. Of course, as mentioned, subject to some enhancement. And why did we say that subject to some enhancement is because as discussed din po with the technical committees of our partners in CHED, in our aim or effort to address all of these findings in the independent evaluation, we should also ensure that our curriculum, which will be adopted in this JCMMC, are also addressing the previous issues raised by our external party. And what we are referring to there is the EMSA. Kaya po, yun pong curriculum under 67 as tsaka nasa CMO 14 na kumbaga in-emphasize lang naman din doon at nag-provide ng course specs. Tinignan po natin at tinitingnan po nating maigi kung talagang yung mga previous issues ay na-address pa rin doon kasi po dati naman na-address na. Kaya nga lang nagkaroon mo ng mga pagbabago-bago. So binabalikan ho natin just to ensure na na-address talaga, intact pa rin yung ating compliance dito. Halimbawa, bisitahin tayo dito ng EMSA ulit, hindi natin alam, hindi na ho mauulit ma-point out yung mga dati pang issue na pinoint out nila. So, ibig sabihin in one word po, parang we are trying to address two birds in one shot. Hitting two birds in one shot na in-address natin yung IE at the same time nag-adapt tayo ng curriculum which is also addressing previous issues na maaaring na kaligtaan. Pero yun po, mangyayari po, sabi ho ng transitory provision dito sa proposed JCMMC number 1 series of 2023. First paragraph, the students who entered the first year in the maritime program for AY 22 and 23 are covered by those in JCMMC number 1 series of 2022. And for their succeeding years shall be covered by this circular na po. Kasi nga po, as mentioned, yung pang second year ho, hindi po ma-offer sa kanila dahil hindi pa po tapos. And henceforth, sa last paragraph, sabi po niya, all students who will enroll in the maritime program for AY 2023 to 2024 shall be covered by this circular. So, kung ano po yung first year curriculum na prescribe po dito sa circular na ito, kung ano yung pang second year, kung ano yung pang third year, yun po ang kukuhanin po at i-offer natin to sa ating mga students na mag-enroll in the coming academic years. Sasagadin ko na nga ako doon. Sa Sir Joseph, yun pong first year curriculum po na tumatakbo ngayon, tinignan po namin in terms of course description po doon sa program of study na nasa JCMMC number 1 series of 2022 versus po yung nasa first year curriculum ng program of study ng CMO 67 and in relation to CMO 14 series of 2018. And we found several differences po. And therefore, those differences will definitely result to gaps. And therefore, it will entail catch up po. So mamaya po siguro mababanggit po yung catch up pagdating po doon sa ating way forward. So yun lang po, sir. I hope we were able to answer your question po. Thank you.
Yes,
very
sir.
much.
That's just my point. Yung how there must be transitional guidelines to address the gap. Kasi
Yeah. Yes.
alam po natin na ang magsasuffer po dito ang mga estudyante.
Correct.
Yes,
Dito ba?
tama po. Tama po.
Tama
And
po.
definitely we will discuss po that in detail, more details doon po sa ating orientation po na ini-expect as a result po ng issuance po nito once the proposed JCMMC is duly approved, promulgated by the Commission and Bank. Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Joseph Toledo. Paalala po uli namin, bukod po sa pag-raise ng hand dito ng mga participants at saka sa comment box dito sa Zoom, tumatanggap din po kami ng katanungan mula sa ating Facebook Live at pati na rin po sa mga nasagutan niyo pong Google form kanina lang sa Google link na sinend po namin sa chat box. So, lahat po ng mga komento niyo at mga katanungan ay noted po namin lahat yun. So, maraming salamat po. Next question po is from Dr. Estelito Lacambra. Sir, you are recognized po.
Sige, lingkod na ito. Mag-good afternoon. Naka-online lang.
Okay. Okay na. Hello. Good afternoon. Am I being heard?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon sa ating makakasamaan, to our colleagues in the industry and in the academy. I just would want to point out something which, if this will be resolved or considered, I believe is beneficial to the practitioners, the marine officers, the academy, the industry, and maybe to the regulatory bodies. Because actually, what I am trying to point out is something not new, but is already existing, which I am not certain if this is being practiced in the maritime sector. To be direct with what I am trying to discuss in this consultation, what I am trying to say, because if you will note, in the basic education sa DepEd po, mayroon tayong tinatawag na acceleration program. Wherein, let us say, ang isang second year na tao na huminto because of poverty, nagtrabaho na, and then after so many years bumalik para mag-continue mag-aral, mayroon lang assessment, screening, exam. Pag naipinasa, he is being awarded a diploma as a high school graduate. Now, I believe, naririnig ko rin ito, I don't know if I am accurate sa naririnig ko. In the tertiary, dito po sa commission, because as I said, maybe the commission can do something about this. Mayroon tayong tinatawag na ITIAP, the Enhanced Tertiary Education Acceleration Program. My point is, ang tanong ko po, kung po pwede ba natin ito marisolba, dahil marami tayong kasamahan na mga associate nung araw na hindi naman nila kasalanan na hindi sila naka-BS because during that time, hindi pa naman offered ang BS except, of course, the PMMA. So yun lang ang naging kasalanan nila na at that time, wala pang BS na offering. Now, they have been long at sea, nag-practice sa kanilang profesyon, naging kapitan, naging chief engineer, and then babalik sila sa lupa para magturo, to share their knowledge, their expertise, then they will be required to enroll for the BS program. Hindi ba applicable dito yung ITIAP na tinatawag? Kasi itong mga BS natin ngayon, na BS sila because of these associate practitioners. Ito mga dati na mga kapitan, mga chief engineers, na mga associate, yan ang nagturo ngayon.
Kasi BS ang
The new generation of the BS professionals are the product of the associate professionals. Bababa ngayon itong mga associate, tuturuan sila ngayon ng mga tinuruan nila. So, parang dito nasisira yung sinasabing the old alone can teach us the value of experience. Baliktad na ngayon, it is now the young teaching the old. Sa bagay, in this digital world, marami talagang nabaliktad. Dahil ang immigrant ngayon, yung datihan na, at ang native, yung bago lang. So that's the effect of this digital na tinatawag po. Ang gusto ko pong i-point out dito, para matulungan yung mga professionals natin, pati yung school. Kasi nahihirapan tayo mag-comply with what is required by this JCMMC. Ito ba nating mga associate na mga practitioners na purlong, hindi ba pwede mabigyan ng equivalent para ma-issuehan sila ng BS diploma because of their long practice at sea? Na-practice na nila yun. Kailangan pa bang pag-aralan yun?
Yes po, sir.
Yes.
Take note of that, sir. Our marina officials po ay naintindihan na po ang inyong punto, sir. At iti-take note po namin ito, sir.
Okay. Another thing. I have another issue. May I?
Anyway, sir, anyway, you can, we have to give also sa, opportunity sa ibang gusto mag-comment. Anyway, you can write your comments sa chat box or doon po sa comment form na ipinigay po sa inyo. Okay? So, thank you very much po.
Thank you for the privilege.
Thank you very much, sir.
Maraming salamat po, everyone. Tapos na po ang ating unang 30 minuto para sa JCMMC 01. Tatanggap na po kami ng mga komento at katanungan para naman po sa JCMMC 02 po.
Itong mga nakarisan, they can just send their comments sa chat box doon sa comment form na binigay sa akin.
Yung mga natitira pong naka-raise na mga katanungan at komento kaugnay po sa JCMMC 01, pwede na lang po yung isend sa chat box natin dito sa Zoom at pati na rin po sa Google Form na sinend po namin kanina. Mababasa naman po namin dahil may database naman po kami ng mga katanungan niyo. Maraming salamat po. Proceed na po tayo sa pangalawang memorandum circular, JCMMC 02. Raise na lang po ng hand kung sino po yung may mga katanungan regarding JCMMC 02 po.
Sir Sam,
Yes. Yes po, Sir Jufonse Tunyakaw po, sir. You are recognized po.
Yeah, thank you. Related to sa ETIA program kasi I have two merchant marine officer na napakuha ko ng ETIA, nagkaroon sila ng BS degree. So the status is, what is now the status of the ETIA program? Tinuloy pa ba? Pagkaintindi ko parang pinahinto yan kasi there are some schools na inabuso yan. Yun ang tanong ni Cap kanina eh. I have two specific person na associate degree lang, isang chief engineer at isang kapitan, pero na-convert ko kasi ang requirement ng CHED para magturo ka sa academe, meron kang base degree. So pakicheck lang sa CHED kung anong status ng ETIA program as of this date. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po sa komento, Sir Tunyakaw.
Noted, Captain Tunyakaw.
Muling paalala lang po namin sa mga participants. May we request po everyone to please limit our comments or reaction to few minutes po so that ma-maximize po natin yung time period na 30 minutes per memorandum circular. Maraming salamat po. Next question po.
Mr. MC.
Yes po.
Sir Sam, with your permission, please.
Yes, Ma'am Ellen. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Opo.
First, dalawang points lang, Sir Sam. First of all, I'd like to reply to the query of Ms. Captain Tunyakaw, although si Richie nag-noted na po. Yes, noted po yung inyong query, but I'd just like to give an update that it has been many years since the ETIAP program has been canceled for the Maritime program because wala daw pong equivalency when it comes to Maritime. Dapat ay very precise ang ating requirements based on STCW. So maybe we can leave that topic about ETIAP na note na po namin. On the second issue, Sir Sam, with your permission, during the CEB kahapon, we said na we will give time for all the queries and have the queries, comments be addressed and noted. So I think since we said that the public consultation will be at 5 o'clock, we can lengthen a little bit the question and answer portion or the open forum for the 3 JCMC. Let us not limit it to 30 minutes lang kasi we can see there are so many queries that we need to address now because after this we need to revise our policies and guidelines and submit a revision for the approval of the Marina and CHED. So with your permission, pwede naman po nating dagdagan ng konti ang oras ng
Okay po.
forum. Kasi 5 o'clock naman po tayo matatapos.
Yeah. We can increase that 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And also based on the policy of CHED, we can accept comments until when, Ma'am Ellen? Until Monday for inclusion.
I think, sir, pinag-usapan kanina, we will still accept comments until Monday 30 Because we need to have it approved in the afternoon for the.
So we still have enough time naman po to accept your comments. Kaya lang po, it should be in writing na. Okay?
Apo, it should be in writing, email to the 2 emails that will be shown later. And
Yes.
also, ngayon po in the chat box because it's being recorded and noted. And also in the comment form that we have provided.
Thank you, Ma'am Ellen.
Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Ellen. So sir, pwede nating balikan yung JCMMC 01.
Yes. Yeah.
Ayun. Para sa mga katanungan pa po regarding sa JCMMC 01, so extended po ang oras natin para sa sagutin ng ilang katanungan niyo po. You may raise your hand po. Sir, itong si Captain J.R. Garcia po, you are recognized, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
po, sir. Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon po everyone. Good afternoon mga sirs. Just want to be clarified regarding doon sa paggamit ng curriculum based sa JCMMC 01 series of 2022. As of now po kasi gumagamit kami sa first year namin ng JCMMC 01 series of 2022. And in fact, nasa second semester na po kami ng paggamit nun. Now, since wala pa pong available na course package for the second year, sa JCMMC 01 series of 2022. Kasi it mean na pagdating na second year itong mga first year, babalik ako sa curriculum ng sa CMO 67. Ganun po ba yun? Or itong mga first year ko ngayon na nasa second semester na gumagamit ng JCMMC 01 series of 2022, ititigil ko, babalik ako sa 67 na curriculum. Gusto ko lang po ma-clarify. Dahil nagpo-problema ako ngayon sa totoo lang, dahil may mga ginagawa pa tayong tawag nito, meron pa tayong nung previous na mga additional ng CHED na requirement yung tungkol doon sa lacking ng mga PUPs natin, may remedial classes pa na ginagawa. Hindi pa po tapos yun. Dahil take effect po yung remedial classes ng mga nakatapos ng 2018, if you remember po. Ayun, nadagdagan na naman, nagkakagulo na naman tayo tungkol dito sa JCMMC. Gusto ko lang po ma-clarify tungkol dito. Thank you po.
Thank you for the question, Captain Garcia. It was explained na earlier, that itutuloy natin yung implementation ng CMO 67 and CMO 14 insofar as curriculum is concerned, subject to enhancement, of course, yung nabanggit nyo nga po na may mga observation regarding sa mga KUPs. Okay. Now, yung first year nyo ngayon na ang kinuha ay yung first year course packages or curriculum under JCMC 01 2022. Okay. Kukuha lang po sila ng catch-up. Meron lang po tayong gagawing catch-up plan para makuha nila yung mga subjects na kailangan. Pero ang kukunin po nila pag sila ay second year na, yung enhanced curriculum for second year under which we took from CMO 14 and CMO 67. So malinaw po ba? So hindi naman po maapektuhan yung first year nyo ngayon na kumuha ng curriculum ng first year under standardized course packages. Kasi po, pag nag-second year sila, yung second year, enhanced naman na second year curriculum under CMO 14 ang kukunin nila. Pero kung meron pong difference nung first year subjects nung under JCMC 01 2022 at yung CMO 67 and 14, magkakaroon po tayo ng catch-up plan. Pero tuloy po sila sa second year nila. Dahil nga po, hindi pa tapos ang second year under the JCMC 01 2022.
Yes po, dahil yung meteorology kasi ganyan sa JCMMC 01 series of 2022, meron na pong laboratory kasi. Yung previous na meteorology na subject natin, MEP 1, MEP 2. Walang laboratory parehas yun. And besides po, mabibigyan po ba kami nung yung enhancement?
Yes po.
Guided po kami kung anong gagawin
natin ngayon Yun yung enhanced curriculum under na kinuha natin sa CMOs 37 and 40. Ang i-attach na natin dito sa proposed amendment ng Joint Circular. Okay? So yun na po yung gagamitin natin for the meantime. Kasi as I explained kanina, ano po, kailangan muna natin kumpletuhin from first year to fourth year yung curriculum under Joint Circular 01-2022.
So itutuloy ko yung first year ko ngayon, second semester, itutuloy ko. Pagdating na second year, saka ako babalik sa CMO 67.
Yes, sir.
Po.
Magkakaroon na lang po tayo ng catch-up plan. Opo.
Thank you po.
Yes, thank you, Captain Garcia, sir.
Salamat po sa katanungan, Captain Garcia. Proceed po tayo sa next question. From
Yung babae sa Dr. Gina. Kanina.
Apo.
Concerns din na
po namin sa lahat. Lahat po ng sinesend nyo ng mga comments at mga questions po sa chat box ay tinitignan po namin lahat. So, noted po ito lahat. Maraming salamat po. Next question po from Dr. Gina Marie po. You are recognized, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay, my question is also about curriculum, wherein the descriptive title of PE is basic swimming. But CHED issued a memorandum order number 39, series of 2021, about PSG on the implementation of tertiary physical education, which is PACFIT. So, I just want to know kung dapat ba tayo susunod doon sa PACFIT or we will focus on basic swimming?
May we request our
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Richie, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Dr. Gina, wala naman pong conflict doon sa PATPIT. In fact, dapat yun ang ini-implement nyo, yung PATPIT. Integrate nyo lang yung basic swimming. You're supposed to implement that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ma'am Ellen, go ahead po. Thank you.
Dr. Bani ko po, Mr. Chair.
Ay, sorry. Sorry, ma'am. Dr. Bani ko. Yes, ma'am, please proceed.
Okay, thank you po. May I just add po some lines for clarifying the answer of Sir Richie. Doc Gina, yung pong CMO ng para po sa PATFIT, yung po talagang dapat sundin natin lahat ng MHEIs, no? At yung pong basic swimming at advanced swimming, lumilitaw po yan sa PATFIT 3 and 4. Kasi requirement po ng bagong CMO na yan, na ang PATFIT 1 at saka PATFIT 2 ay may kinalaman po sa competency ng, no, it's about exercise, body exercise, not really na swimming kaagad. So yung swimming po natin, which is under group sports, papasok po siya sa PATFIT 3 and PATFIT 4. I hope
okay.
na-clarify po.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Kasi we just want to follow lang kasi yung binibigay na curriculum na dapat yung PE1 talaga is basic swimming, PE2 is advanced swimming, parang gano'n. So thank you for the clarification, Doc Emmy.
Okay. Anyway, Doc, sa ano po, yung sa revision po ng JCMMC na Series of 2023, kinurek ko po yung nakalagay doon sa Program of Study. Hindi po siya PE1, 2, 3, 4. Ang nakalagay na po doon ay PATFIT 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, Doc. Thank you very much.
Thank you po.
Thank
you po, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gina and Doc Emmy. Thank you very much po.
We may now proceed po sa next question mula kay mula kay Chief Engineer Jaynard Tan po. You are now recognized po. Sir Jaynard.
Good afternoon.
Good
Sorry, sir. Nag-skip yung audio. Okay. For clarification po, ang sabi po kasi ni Mr. Chair na from the current curriculum, which is JCMMC number 1, series of 2022, which is being implemented for the first year students, mag-shift pagdating sa second year sa CMO 67. Am I correct in assuming po na ganun ang standing instructions?
That is correct po. Yeah.
Okay po. Kasi po ang problem po on our side, the new curriculum for the first year is very different from CMO 67. Even the distribution of units, the distribution of hours, the distribution of laboratory lecture. So in our part, is it correct for me also to assume that if I accept students or my first year students when they go to second year, that I will evaluate them to the old curriculum? So in turn, it may be possible na magkaroon po ng additional subjects yung bata kasi yung nakuha niya before is not the same with what is in CMO 67. Tama po ba?
Yeah, that's the catch up line. That's the catch up po, yung catch up line. Kasi as I explained kanina, we're not yet ready yet to implement yung second year under second year curriculum or course packages under JCMC 01 2022. Okay? So ang ano po natin ito, kaya natin ibinalik sa CMO 67 muna and 14, although with some enhancement. So you're correct po, meron talaga based sa aming gap analysis na ginawa, meron talaga hong pagkakaiba yung sa first year, ano? So at least right now, ang medyo magkakaroon lang tayo ng adjustment yung sa first year po. So sa second year, magkakaroon tayo ng catch up.
Okay, siguro po maging issue lang namin dyan for sure. Magrereklamo ang mga magulang at students dahil maaring yung mga subjects that they have taken in the first year will be useless kasi they will be taking up yung nasa 67. There will be some cases that they will be enrolling additional subjects. So ayun lang po, I'm just clarifying para po sakaling kami magalit ang mga magulang at ang mga anak, we will tell na this is the action of the government, this is the regulation of Marina. So ayun lang po, thank you.
Yeah, my colleague would like to respond to that, Chief Engineer Tan. Sir John Ray, please.
Thank you very much, Sir Sam, Mr. Chair. Chief Engineer Jaynard, sir. First of all, we fully agree po kasi we have initially compared the curriculum for the first year under CMO 67 vis-a-vis the one that is JCMMC number 1 series of 2022. And we agree that there are differences, and that's why we have mentioned nga po that in view of this difference, it would entail the implementation of catch-up intervention so that these students that are going to be affected by this will not be prejudiced. So for purposes of that, I believe that Marina and CHED technical committees and TWGs, together with the curriculum review committees, will seriously and thoroughly discuss this so that we can come up with options by which the catch-up intervention will be favorable rather than disadvantageous to the student. And we have initially discussed here, while you are raising your question, that perhaps for purposes of this, Marina and CHED could issue a supplemental guidelines on how we will go about this catch-up intervention. So rest assured, sir, it will definitely be discussed with you in the orientation. And we have discussed this also with the CHED technical committees, the curriculum review committees, that we are looking at the period wherein we are now on the second year, second sem of academic year 2022-2023. So therefore, it means we have time to fix and address all of these other concerns on the curriculum, so that before you start your AY 23-24 academic implementation and operation, mas smooth po tayo as much as possible. So gagawin po natin lahat yung effort para po maisayos to. Thank you very much po.
Thank you po. Yun lang po. It will be a great help to us kasi ang hirap po i-explain na yung tinake nilang subject nung first year ay hindi na kasi to apt dahil very different from CMO 67. So that will be a welcome help for us here in the school if we can make them connected. Let's say let's credit one subject to another subject and there is a clear guideline from you from MARINA-CHED so that we can credit their courses properly. At least hindi sila masyadong madagdagan ng additional load kasi that will also incur extra expenses. And also for the school, it's very hard to explain pagdating po sa ganyan. So yun, thank you very much po.
Thank you, Chief Engineer Tan.
Thank you po sa insights, Chief Engineer Tan. Proceed po tayo sa next question from Captain Daniel Torres Jr. of Maapo. Sir, you are recognized po.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat, no? There are things na masasabi po, mga nangyari. Since yung mga first year po ngayon, about navigation, nakuha yung NAV 1, which are the basic navigation, which is different with the CMO 67. Mas tama po to. Kasi yung dati, nag-start tayo sa electronic navigation, which hindi pa nila nalaman yung mga basic doon. So I think pwede pong ituloy yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng navigation 1. Ang may second is about seamanship 2, which is stability. Nakalagay po yan sa napakaaga po sa first year. And as you can see, ang compliance po na nire-require dito ay yung tungkol sa IMO intact stability criteria. 6 po yun. And 3 of those are area under the stability curve. So marami po tayong math na kakailanganin dito like little of plane trigo, solid mensuration, and even integral calculus para maintindihan natin yung area under the stability curve. Kung maaari lang po, medyo ilagay natin sa medyo bandang huli yan, either the late second year or even on the first semester of the last year. And thirdly po, if you still remember yung ng EMSA before, question with regards to ECDIS and voyage planning. Before you yan, NAV 6 is ECDIS and NAV 7 is voyage planning. And remember that ECDIS is only a tool for voyage planning. So kailangan muna natin malaman yung pinaka-principles of voyage plan before we can use the tool. Yun lang po ang aking mga maiksing parang comment. Para lang po pagka inayos nyo to ay should consider yung mga things like that. Thank you very much po.
Thank you, Captain Torres, sir. Yes, tama po kayo. Isa po sa ginagawa natin ditong enhancement ay yung proper sequencing po ng ating mga subjects. Kasama po yan sa ginagawa natin. Okay? Sir Jerry, it's okay na? Unless from merong mga comment from other. Yeah. So yun po, we'll take note of that and sa ginagawang ongoing na enhancement ng ating program of study. Thank you very much po.
Maraming salamat po, Captain Torres, para sa inyong feedback. Parang yung komento niyo po ay may pabibilang natin sa positive way forward ng ating mga inisyatiba.
Thank you very much po. I'll be here to help.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
So, ubos na po ang ating 45 minutes para sa JCMMC 01. Ipagpatuloy na po natin ang talakayan na naputol kanina kaugnay ng JCMMC 02. So, kung sino po may mga katanungan ay magtaas na lang po ng kamay.
JCMC 02 po, that pertains to the guidelines on the conduct of joint evaluation and inspection of applications for BSMT and BSMAR.
Paalala po ulit namin sa lahat na ang mga nagbigay po ng mga komento at mga katanungan ay noted po namin pa rin dahil kahit po hindi kayo natawag at nag-message po kayo sa ating chat box at nag-fill up ng Google form, ay mababasa pa rin naman po namin. At maraming salamat po. Any questions po regarding sa JCMMC 02?
Mukhang wala. Okay, so perhaps in a proposed amendment to joint circular for monitoring, perhaps you have comments. Otherwise, we can go back to 01 to the PSG para sa PSG para hindi masayang yung time natin. Yes, Dr. Hapitana, sir, you recognize. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like also to manifest regarding the reverting the curriculum to CMO 67. I think I saw something halos parehas kasi Mr. Chair, kung ano po yung itsura po ng 67. However, nakasama ka rin po doon sa inspection ng EMSA, and one of the findings of EMSA was the NAV 6 and NAV 7. So kung makikita po natin sa, if we're going to revert it to CMO 67, hindi pa rin po natin inayos yung findings ng EMSA, wherein NAV 6 is ECDIS, NAV 7 is fundamental of age planning. The suggestion of Mr. Rodriguez that ECDIS supposed to will become NAV 7. Voice planning fundamental will be NAV 6. So I think we have to consider the recommendation of EMSA to change or interchange the NAV 6 and NAV 7. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you for that. We will consider, of course, that's the one of the purpose of this amendment is, of course, to address yung mga naging observation ng external audit during the external audit and evaluation. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for,
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yes, kasi yung sa present ngayon na binigay sa amin, yun pa rin yung NAV 6 at saka NAV 7, ECDIS pa rin at saka NAV voice planning. I think palitan na po natin. Thank you.
Copy that, Doc Kapitana. Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Hapitana. Nag-raise po ng hand si Sir Oka. Sir, you are recognized po.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to everyone. Are we already in JCMC3 or I can still comment on JCMCC 1?
Pwede naman po,
Yes,
sir.
Considering that there's no comment, would like to comment on 02 and 03. Yeah,
I would like to comment on 03, but I would like to bring something about JCMCC 1 with regards to the benefits that are given to schools that are leveling up due to voluntary accreditation, which, by the way, has higher standards compared to our CMOs or JCMCs C requirements. So we are still on why it has not been returned. What is the reason why some benefits, why not all the benefits were completely removed, especially the SO or the special order that actually fastens or it quickens the processing of our graduates to take the licensure exam or the COC exam so that they can go report to their sponsoring companies as soon as possible. And that has been now some of the complaint of some shipping companies, especially the international, na nade-delay. So if you get your SO 2 to 3 months afterwards and then you apply for exam, meron na naman tayong hintaying time kasi i-schedule ka pagkatapos kuha ng exam para paglabas, pagbigay ng COC afterwards, that it will take time. So I would like to ask Marina to reconsider the SO per se, because that will actually hasten and it will improve our standing with the international shipping company. Second, the other benefits, siguro I shared in the chat, There are other benefits that is not necessarily linked to the STCW, except maybe yung curriculum. Magsasubmit pa rin naman, pero pwedeng mag-develop ng curriculum ang level 3 or level 4 na pwedeng isa, sasubmit pa naman, requirement to submit. So lahat dumadaan sa butas ng karayom ng MARINA-CHED. So in one way or another, there is already a request that it be reviewed and deleted yung mga benefits ng PACOCOA accreditation. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then dun sa JCMCC 3, wala kaming nakitang change dun sa OBMI ng JCMC 3. Is there a change? I heard that there was a workshop in Indang, Cavite. There might have been some changes. What I would like to suggest is to actually separate the standards, which is the competency through KUPs. And we have defined those KUPs and competency to course outcomes. Focus on the course outcomes will make your life much more easier. Kaya nga hindi na tayo makuha dahil puro input po ang inyong mini-measure. And we've been doing that for a long time. Ang dami natin nagiging problema sa EMSA at saka sa IE. Course outcome, yung point tinuro ng mga independent evaluator who are also the same resource speaker na focus on the course outcome, because the course outcome as way we develop the curriculum leads towards the competency. So I would suggest that before you release that OBMI tool, medyo nakafocus tayo. Ano yung DPS? Okay, pagkatapos yung teaching learning activity, nagagawa ba? And then yung assessment, course outcome. I know you have areas, several areas in terms of how to monitor, pero focus on the standards and the competency rather than, and all the others would be just observation dahil binalik niya na yung observation. I hope that you will actually listen to me this time around. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Tote. Yes, we have duly noted po yung comment. We will discuss that with CHED, unless our friends from CHED would like to respond to the comment of Engineer Oka on the benefits. And actually, yes, Sir Tote, I agree with you, because one of the observations made by the independent evaluation is that our monitoring is not that robust. So, yeah. Thank you very much po. We have duly noted your comments po. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Oka. Next question po tayo from Mr. Wilson Travina po. Sir, you are recognized po.
Good afternoon. Nilagay ko na rin sa chat box regarding JCMMC 03.
Yes,
So
sir.
kasi yung repealing clause, di ba pinag-uusapan natin single document na lang.
Yes.
Kaya lang it was stated doon na yung inconsistencies are hereby repealed. So ibig sabihin, existing pa rin yung mga CMO na previous o JCMMC na previous.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that, Sir Tote. Any comment from our legal?
Yeah.
No, hindi naman kami magkamukha ni Toti.
Actually, Sir Wilson, thanks for bringing that. I'm sorry kung parang it may cause confusion, but dito po kasi sa ating repealing clause on 03, tama ba? 03.
Maybe sa iba rin, no? Para i-repeal na natin yung mga previous.
Marina Memorandum or Joint CHED, JCMMC number 03 series of 2022. And all other relevant issuances. Tama po, yun po yung focus ng tanong nyo. And all other issuances. Actually, this is the common provisions or common statement na ginagamit po talaga sa when it comes to the formulation of policy. O kung meron naman po at na hindi natin na-identify na inconsistent po dito sa ating pinopropose na policy, team reveal po yun.
So existing pa rin yung ibang
Kung meron po, kasi nga po, this is a catch-all provision that in case po may relevant, like for example, since this is an MC regarding po sa conduct ng monitoring activity, maliban po sa MC 03 series of 2022, kung meron po mga existing na hindi namin na-identify, masasakop na po siya dito sa all other relevant issuances. And so far as monitoring is concerned.
Okay.
Okay, thank you po.
Ulitin.
Sir, legal
Thank you,
instruction.
thank you.
Hindi Sir Toti, Sir Wilson.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Proceed po tayo sa next na katanungan mula kay Captain James po Romero from NPMA po. Sir, you're recognized po.
Hello, sir. Am I clear?
Opo, sir.
Yes. A question regarding sa JCMC 01. If we're gonna be shifting to CMO 67 and 14, regarding sa GMDSS, may declaration regarding doon na only the MTIs will offer the GMDSS GOC. But if we're gonna be reverting back to CMO 67 and 14, may component ng courses ng GMDSS doon. So ano po yung pwede nating gawin doon? Yun lang, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Captain Romero. Sir, I will ask my colleague John Ray to respond to your question.
Speaker.
Yeah,
Yes, Captain Santos po. With regards po this,
before Sir John Ray, yes, go ahead, please. Captain Santos.
Captain Santos.
Sir.
Rico.
Baka
Ayan, sir. Yes, with regards to the query about the GMDSS, the GMDSS will be introductory only on the curriculum. So, very basic and fundamental lang yung ibibigay sa curriculum. And then others, yung pinaka-whole package ng GMDSS sa MTIs po ibibigay yun. Kasi hindi pa po magagrasp na mabuti ng mga estudyante. Yun lang po, thank you.
Thank you, Cap. Sir John Ray, would you like? Okay na. So, thank you, Cap Santos. Captain Romero, okay po sa inyo yung sagot?
Okay, sir. We'll review, then we'll give feedback. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll appreciate po yung feedback ninyo. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Proceed po tayo sa next question from Sir Ruben Lanuzo po from PMMS.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Yes, po.
Good afternoon, sirs and ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I just want to ask about the conflicts, lalo na dun sa JCMMC 01. Tapos yung magbabago ngayong taon na darating na babalik ulit tayo sa CMO 67. There are some schools na nagsara and some of their students are irregular. Naghahanap ngayon ng ibang school. So, some cases, for example, there is a student na kulang siya ng NAB2. Siyempre, ang curriculum natin ngayon sa first year, yung NAB2 is yun yung curriculum. Pero kung babalik natin siya sa CMO 67, will we allow the student to enroll that NAB2 na new curriculum, although he is from an old curriculum NAB2?
Sir John Ray, yeah, please respond to the question of Sir Ruben. Thank you.
Mr. Sir Lanuso, thank you for your comment. At this point po, we are going to analyze specifically topics, kasi po ito ay ano kung makikita niyo po yung comparison nung curriculum ng 67 and JCMMC number 1, series 2022 first year. Talaga pong doon pa lang sa descriptive title, malaki na po pagkakaiba. But we want to be sure in terms of the content. So that's why we will look at the content po muna maigi, and then as mentioned kanina po, there will be a supplemental guidance or guidelines na ibibigay po sa mga MHCI para po mas ma-iron out kung ano po yung gagawin doon sa mga malalaking, halimbawa, malaki talaga ang pagkakulang, merong underpinning knowledge na kinakailangan, yun po yung kailangan mga take into consideration. Kasi po, hindi po natin po pwedeng basta, sige, pwede na to, pwede na yan. Kaya po nang nabanggit ko kanina, hindi po natin sigurado, baka may magbisita na naman sa atin, and then bubulat-latin po nila yan na, nagkaroon kayo ng pagbabagong ganito, ganyan. Paano nyo in-ensure na still, yung underpinning knowledge that is required to be taken prior to a particular subject has been duly completed. So, yun po, kailangan po talagang titingnan po maigi yung gap po sa gaya po ng nabanggit ninyo. And we will issue definitely a guidance for that po upon review po ng mga technical committees po ng TWG and curriculum review committee po ng CHED and MARINA. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ano lang kasi na-experience ko, may mga nagta-transfer na estudyante. Some of them have NAB2, some of them have whole regs na old curriculum. Ngayon kasi
yes, sir. Sa transferring student po naman, siguro po depende kung yung transferring student ay ang kinuha po ba niya ay yung curriculum na ito na pinag-uusapan natin. Baka naman po yung transferring student ay covered by a different curriculum. Halimbawa, maaaring nag-stop siya pa, then ibang curriculum ang kinuha niya. Ibang kaso po yun. Hindi po yun makaka-capture ng ating binabanggit na intervention, gap intervention para po dito sa difference between 67 and JCMMC number 1 series of 2022.
yes, bali ganito, sir. Yung scenario, for example, CMO 67 yung bata, navigation 2, hindi niya nakuha. Ngayon mag-enroll siya. Ang navigation 2 natin is new curriculum. Dahil sabi nyo, ngayon darating na susunod na SEM, babalik nyo rin sa CMO 67, will we allow that student to enroll the NAV2 na new curriculum, although he is his NAV7 is from CMO 67.
NAV7.
NAV2, sorry, NAV2.
Talaga sir magkaiba. Kaya sabi ko nga sa'yo, yung NAV2 ng CMO 67, Terrestrial and Coastal Navigation 1, yung nasa JCMMC number 1, series of 2022, ay Terrestrial and Coastal Navigation 2. Talaga magkaiba. Kaya i-specify mo natin doon sa guidelines kung ano gagawin po.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sir Ruben. Talaga. For the question.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Ruben Lanuzo. Proceed po tayo sa next. Nag-raise po ng hand si Sir Joponce Dunyao po. Sir, your recognition po.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is a very minor observation lang sa section 11.5.1. Career opportunities for BSMT or BS-MARI graduates. Na-include kasi dito yung offshore industry. Without any additional info, this might create a wrong impression that if you're a graduate of BSMT, BS-MARI, you could immediately work on an offshore organization. Hindi yung pwede. Kailangan siya, ang pinopropose ko, include ang phrase na subject to the attendance and completion of offshore courses. Unfortunately, yung offshore courses hindi yan under the mandate ng Marina. So, ang point ko lang is i-clarify lang natin, baka magbigay ng wrong impression sa graduate na, pwede na pala tayo sa offshore courses. Hindi pwede yun. Thank you.
Duly noted, Captain Tunyao, sir. Thank you very much for your comment.
You're welcome.
Thank you po, sir. Next question from Sir Alfredo Habok po. Sir, you are recognized po.
Hello, good afternoon sa lahat.
Good afternoon, sir.
So far, wala naman ako masyadong tanong na sa mga revised 01, 02, 03 ng under the 2023. And talagang madugo ito, especially yung sa 01, kasi ang CHED-MARINA nga talagang malaking oras ang ginugol para pagdebatihan ito. Pero ang klarado lang sa ngayon na nakikita ko yung transitory provision na nagsasabi na yung naka-enroll ngayon under the Joint 01 2022, next year they will be covered by this new 2023, no? So, ang dating curriculum na ini-implement natin, ang siyang tatandaan natin na will be covered nitong 2023 at yung mga pagbabago ay makikita natin sa attachment ng curricular mapping, competency mapping sa program of study, considering yung mga comments ng EMSA. Yan ay napag-usapan ng both Marina and CHED. Kaya nga yung catch up na nababanggit na pag-usapan na rin yan. At medyo madugo-dugo nga yan dahil detalye ang pinag-uusapan dyan. We have to come up with specific catch up plan na talagang pabor sa ating mga estudyante at of course sa mga eskwelahan. At the reason why bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng isang document lang na to be referred sa ating manifestation or compliance to the complete education and training ng operational level, no? Ay kailangan talagang baguhin dahil tatanda natin na implemented management level ngayon ay nakakasana, na-implement na. At ang pwede na lang natin ma-adjust dito sa annexes ay yung laman ng operational level na nandun na sa management level ay dapat matanggal na doon sa operational level para hindi magkaroon ng double training. Isa ito sa mga importanteng guidance na ang both BSMT, BSMRA ay tinitingnan at dapat talaga mag-align ng masyado para at the end, dito natin masasabi ng implementation ng approved education and training ng Pilipinas with regards to the operational BSMT, BSMRA and the management level courses ay talagang complete ay napatupad natin, no? Kasi yung Joint Circular 01 2022 ay hindi nga nila ng independent evaluator sinasabi i-evaluate dahil kulang-kulang. First year lang yun. Kaya sa aking palagay, ito lang dapat intindihin natin na punto. Dalawang courses lang, dalawang curriculum lang naman ang ini-implement ngayon. Yung dati, under 67 and 14, although yun ang direction, pero tatanda natin naka-silent doon sa 01, 2023. Walang nababanggit tungkol sa 67 saka 14. But if you look at yung attachment annexes, doon may ipapakita. Kaya nababanggit lang natin 67 saka 14, pero deleted na siya doon sa repealing clause.
Yes.
Yun lang dapat natin matandaan. Thank you very much, Sam and Marina and CHED team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Fred, for the clarification po. Yeah, tama po yung sinabi ninyo. Ito rin yung tinitingnan natin dito, yung alignment ng BS natin programs and yung current natin management level course. Okay. So thank you very much po.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Fred, for helping us clarify the issues. Next po is the-raise po ng hand ang ating colleagues from CHED po. You are recognized po.
Thank you very much. Si Ellen Fernandez po from CHED. Gusto ko lang kasi idagdag dun sa query kanina ng taga PMMS. I think this will be a common problem of all our maritime higher education institutions as we change curriculum ng napakabilis, no? Kakapasok pa lang natin sa JCMC 1 series of 2022 at second year, third year, and fourth year ay nasa CMO 67 and then we revert back. And as usual, the MHEIs will always do an individual assessment para sa ating mga estudyante. We don't want them to be disadvantaged. I think even if we make a general guidelines on the catch-up, each school should have a catch-up and very individual ito sa ating mga students. And this should be documented and submitted to our higher education, our CHED-ROS. Kasi kung hindi, baka later on ipadagdag ito as additional units to be taken by our students. Ang primary concern namin, hindi ma-disadvantage ang ating mga estudyante. So yun lang po sa ating mga MHEIs at saka sa ating mga CHED-ROS na ma-monitor po natin ito. Thank you.
Salamat po, Ma'am Ellen.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Ellen. Sir Janry, would you like to say something about that?
Yes, thank you, Sir Sam. Ma'am Ellen, siguro po, dun po sa ating guidance regarding the catch-up, taking into consideration po yung point na sinabi nyo, we believe that it would also entail the necessity to include guidance regarding that concern for our CHED regional offices po. So that hindi po mangyari po yung ganun pong problema. So pag-usapan na lang po natin sa crafting po ng guidance na yon with the assistance po ng ating po mga technical committees, technical working group, and curriculum review committee group po.
Thank you very much, Sir Janry. Yes, and thank you, Ma'am Ellen.
Thank you po, Sir Janry. Thank you rin po, Ma'am Ellen. We have next question from Sir Wilson Trabina po.
Sir Wilson, yeah.
Thank you. Yung sa JCMMC 1, since sinasabi natin, babalik tayo sa CMO 67, but reading yung proposed JCMMC, there was no connect. Can we include na yung something like kasi nakalagay series of 2022 as amended eh. Yun lang ang minention do sa JCMMC na proposed na yan. Can we include yung CMO 6714 so that yung sinasabi nating i-include yung curriculum noon, so justified siya even sa saan ba pwede ilagay yun? Subject, no? Sa subject kasi stated that series of 2022 ang connect nung 23. So, pero babalik tayo sa CMO 67 and 14 eh. Can we cross-reference at least? Para clear na rin sa IE o whoever reads yung JCMMC.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Wilson, for that comment. Actually, it was clarified already by Sir Fred Habo kanina, na as observed by the independent evaluators, diba? It would be beneficial nga po kung sinasabi na karoon lang tayo ng single reference policy. Okay? Now, that's the reason why sinabi nga po kanina, while sinasabi natin na yung curriculum kinuha natin sa CMO 67 and CMO 14, but dito sa proposed amendment ng JCMC 01 2022, silent na po tayo kasi that will be the yun na po yung i-implement talaga natin starting academic year 2023-24.
Sige, okay. Etong another dalawa. So
Yes,
during the discussion of these revisions, no, ng 2023, we agreed on new instructors that is qualified to teach can teach. However, in the proposal, nakita ko ulit, newly hired faculty professor courses without teaching experience may guidance and supervision pa for 1 semester. This is very expensive. How can we delete yung ano? Kasi kinqualify na natin siya. He had undergone training 609 or 312. So what's the use of 1 semester? And it is inherent for the program heads, no, even deans, to monitor and manage the instructors. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Tote.
Toti na naman. Pambira, oh.
Aminin mo na, magkamukha naman kayo.
Like to, respond to that. Thank you, Sir. Sorry. Sir Wilson, good afternoon po. Tama yung tawag ko sa inyo. Actually, sir, we have been discussing that part po with the group. At parang ang recollection po is that provision was a recommendation during the crafting of the JCMMC number 1 series of 2022. And sa amin naman po, wala naman kaming makitang dahilan para siya i-exclude. Kaya po, niretain din po namin siya doon. Basically, lifted po siya from the provision of JCMMC number 1 series of 2022, taking into consideration niya po that it has been subjected to the same consultation at that time, and wala nga po kaming makitang reason kung bakit po siya tatanggalin. Pero kung sa ngayon po, siguro, if there will be a recommendation to that effect, then maybe it can, if that is your recommendation po, sir, na i-delete na po yan, then maybe it can be considered for discussion, and then dito po sa finalization ng ating ng ating JCMMC. Yun po ba ay manifestation na po ng recommendation po ninyo, Sir Wilson?
Correct. I would like to recommend to delete yung item 11.9 C.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sir Wilson and Sir Janry. Thank you po. Duly noted po. We'll take into consideration of that. Thank you.
Thank you po, sir. Proceed po tayo sa next question from Dr. Israel Torres po. Sir, you are recognized po.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon po. Thank you for this opportunity. Sir, ang sabi is i-revert back tayo sa CMO 67 or CMO 6714. Meron kasing distinctive difference ang JCMMC 1 at ang CMO 67, particularly sa mga courses. Sa JCMMC 1, may parts 8, B, and C with the idea na gustong gawing standardized para sa lahat ng MHEIs. Sa CMO 67, ang pre-provide lang po doon ay course outcomes. Ang mga learning outcomes at saka yung design mismo, na left po yun para sa mga school. So, hindi po ba magiging conflict yon sa idea ng standardization, since kapag kayo nag-monitor ng bawat school, ang titignan nyo po iba-iba, hindi yan pare-pareho? Or may plano po ba kayong mag-provide ng let's say a new parts ABC para sundan namin kung ano ba talagang i-enhance namin? For the interest of the idea, for the interest of or for the benefits of the MHEIs and also the idea of standardization, ano po bang plano?
Thank you for that, Dr. Torres. Sir Janry, please can you please respond?
Schools doon yan. Nag-meeting ron.
Yeah. Sige. Yes, sir. Okay. Good afternoon po, sir. Dr. Torres, sir. Good afternoon. As we have mentioned po kanina, we are not setting aside the standardization of our BSMT and BS Marie curriculum. So happen nga lang po na there is a necessity for us now na i-hold muna po yung implementation niya, because we cannot really implement in view of the fact that it's not yet complete. But the direction, as far as I understand from our previous discussion and meetings,
the direction is still continue po yung ongoing standardization ng curriculum. And the intention is, once it is finally complete, it has passed through the process of design and development, which includes the pilot testing, and it can be implemented. Then that's the time that we will migrate into that. But ang amin lang po pinopoint out is we have to ensure na yung pong migration natin do sa standardized curriculum will be based on a realistic plan, time-bound, and yun po lahat ng aspeto na maapektuhan are duly considered. Meaning, we have to carefully plan and then execute po before we embark on that. But the point is, hindi po natin siya ini-stop. Hindi po natin siya ini-stop at as far as I know, and as we know, it's ongoing po ang design and development po niyan. So ngayon, given that situation po na hindi nga po siya patapos, the most practicable option po for us, for every one of us, government, institutions, business, mining industry, and most importantly, the seafarers, our practicable option is, ito nga po, sa sinasabi nating bumalik tayo sa 67, wherein technically, we are lifting the CMO 67 curriculum as supplemented by CMO 14 series of 2018 to the curriculum that is going to be part as an annex of this proposed JCMMC with enhancement na as mentioned nga po, the enhancement is intended to ensure that all those previous issues or concerns raised by our external evaluators or auditors ay still duly taken care of, duly addressed, and maintain po yung ating compliance. And considering din po that we are all aware that the MHCIs are still implementing the CMO 67 and 14 for their second and third year students, and in view of the fact that definitely all your course materials are ready, still intact. So we are of the view na wala po supposedly tayong masyadong magiging challenge. Kaya nga po ito yung napagkasundoan na most practicable option, so that by doing so, we will be able to show from the independent evaluators up to the panel of competent persons ng IMO that insofar as the Philippines is concerned, this is the structure of our education and training from the operational level to the management level 5 years prior to the conduct of this independent evaluation. Kasi yun po yung titingnan nila dahil po yung cycle po ng pagkandak ng independent evaluation as required under the STCW Convention is within a 5-year cycle. Kaya po tayo, gumanito po ang ating naging option po ngayon. So, yun po, in the meantime, we have not still deviated from our monitoring practices. We have not actually deviated from the implementing and governing policies, rules, and regulations and monitoring. So, sa tingin ko po, as a former part of the monitoring group, hindi rin po siguro magiging problema na magkakaroon ng malaking shifting po tayo dyan. Although I fully understand your point, yung iba-iba ang titingnan kasi nga po, yun po ang pinakang very reason kung bakit po na-envision yung standardization of curricula way back 2019. Kung maalala nyo po, binanggit na po yung standardization do sa JCMMC number 1 series of 2019. At yun din po sana ang ini-envision natin para once and for all, yung lahat ng remaining issue sa EMSA, ma-address na sana. Kaya lang hindi po tayo nag-succeed doon. We have been seriously affected by the pandemic. Kaya po itinuloy sana ng JCMMC number 1 series of 2022. But unfortunately, may struggle pa rin po tayo. So, hindi po tayo pwedeng magpatuloy sa ganong sitwasyon. That's why we are in this situation po, Doctor. So, we would highly appreciate po your comment pa, whatever input pa po na pwede niyo po ibigay. Andiyan naman po si Ma'am Emmy, si Sir Wilson, let's discuss po and ayusin po natin ito po ng mas mainam para po sa kabutihan po ng lahat.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that response. Just a follow-up lang. The main point there kasi, sir, is that this. Kung ang idea po natin is babalik tayo sa CMO 67, will it be possible that if in case that the standardized packages will be completed, it shall not be applied retroactively for the current batch and let this current batch complete the CMO 67 na lang and whatever catch-up batch. The general idea kasi, sir, na iniiwasan natin dito is magiging counterproductive to sa mga estudyante. Like for instance, if suddenly, let's say, we already have a learning outcome, a school has a learning outcome intended for one course, and he assessed already the student, and suddenly, the same subject, naka-standardize ka, nagbigay na ng standard learning outcome, that would mean na yung estudyante, i-re-assess mo with that learning outcomes. It's going to be a pile of operational issues and academic issues on the part of the student. So if you are saying, and I'm sorry, but I can infer from that statement that we have somehow a humble admission that the standardized concept, where regardless of how fruitful the idea is, hindi pa tayo ganun ka-ready for that. Hindi ba pwedeng tatanggapin natin sa CMO 67, patapusin natin sa CMO 67. Pag natapos po si JCMMC na complete, let it be applied to the next succeeding batch where we are confident enough to say they can complete with the standard package. After all, our interests, the interests of the schools, the interests of Marina and CHED are all unified in unison. We wanted to have a fruitful maritime education for our future seafarers. So I think pwede naman ba? Baka we can consider that, sirs.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much po. Actually, that's the plan.
Thank you, sir.
That's the intention. The standardization curriculum, the standardized curriculum or course packages po is our way forward, and will be implemented or given once fully completed. So, kailangan lang ho natin siya, makumpleto siya from first year hanggang fourth year, po. Kasi siguro nakikita nyo naman po, sa standardization, nagkaroon ng changes sa component ng management level sa curriculum ng BS. Okay? So in that case po, there will be adjustment also na gagawin natin sa management level course na kinukuha sa training center. So dapat po kasi align lahat ito. So before we implement this one po, dapat these are na to lahat ready na for implementation. Thank you very much, Dr. Torres.
Thank you po, sirs.
Maraming salamat po, mga sir. Ma'am Emelita Banico is raising her hand po. Ma'am, you are recognized po.
Yeah, thank you very much po. Mr. Chair, may I just add something po? Opo, ang concern po kasi ni Dr. Torres is regarding the standardization of the ILOs. What we have issued in line with the CMO 67 are course specifications, and so what we have there are course outcomes. Kung naaalala po ng ating mga participants na nandito ngayon sa Zoom, every MHEI is being encouraged to practice academic freedom. Ang naging issue lang po kasi, we have some questions on the capacity of certain MHEIs na pagdating sa pagka-craft ng ILOs, medyo hindi masyadong maliwanag. Now, since meron naman pong training na ibibigay ang CHED-MARINA that is regarding the capacity building in line with the use of the competency assessment manual, na napaka-dependent po ng paggamit ng manual na yan on the right crafting of the ILOs and the COs. So siguro po we can take advantage of that opportunity na matutunan ng ating MHEIs paano nagka-craft ng ILO from the CO na piniprescribe po ng ating CHED-MARINA. So in that sense, hindi naman po talaga ang binabangga natin sa STCW competency requirements ay ILO. Binabangga po natin doon yung course outcomes. So in other words, we can still manifest our compliance or conformity with the required competences of the STCW. And at the same time, ang mga MHEIs po natin ay na-empower by teaching them on how to craft the ILOs. So we can achieve that po sa ibibigay po ninyong seminar workshop regarding the capacity building for the use of the competency assessment manual as approved by CEB. Thank you very much po.
Thank you, Dr. Emis. Ma'am, thank you po. Yeah, maraming salamat po sa inyong comment.
Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Amy. Wala na po ata tayong mga nag-raise ng hand. Ayun, may humabol. Si
Ma'am Merly. Ma'am Merly.
Yes po. Ma'am Merly San Pedro, you are recognized, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I just have two questions. Well, actually, I raised this earlier in the chat box, and I think repeatedly this has been also been asked because the main and the major concern and definitely everybody's concern is as to whether you have timeline already on when this is going to be issued. I think it's very material for us MHEIs to know what's your timeline. When are you intending to have this released to us so that we can plan ahead as well? This is my first question. And then number two, if I can just finish it. You mentioned in the background as to the independent evaluation background, the results of which include the resolution you mentioned here that, wait, let me check. The resolution is that to maintain the existing maritime education and training system. Now, I know that has been also a major concern before because we have been swinging to, we have a different system in the Philippines compared to Europe and other ASEAN countries. Now, just to clarify and maybe share to us, what exactly do we mean by maintaining the existing maritime education and training? Especially, we had issues about the management level courses, which were there in the 67 and not in the JCMCC. So this is all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. For the timelines po, actually, yun nga po, kaya natin, there is an urgency for the approval of this proposed amendment, kasi this one is expected to be submitted to the independent evaluators by end of the January. So that's January 31. As explained kanina, according to the independent evaluators, the finalization of their independent IA report shall be based on our submission ng additional compliance document na ni-require nila sa atin, which is ito nga po, itong amendment natin sa ating joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circulars. So, ang po nito, after this public consultation, there will be adjustment to the draft based on the comments made in this PubCon. Then, by Monday, we are planning to discuss this in the technical panel for maritime education for endorsement to the CEB for approval. So the next schedule of CEB is according to CHED is on January 31. So we hope that we could meet that timelines and hopefully submit that to the independent evaluation. But of course, after the approval of CEB, there are other processes that needs to be undertaken, right? The orientation and so on, the publication. So, yun po yun. Yun ang timelines na. But of course, the implementation of this joint circular will be in the next academic year. So yun po yung timelines natin dito. Sa AY 2023 and 24. So yung ano po, i-implement na natin yung enhanced curriculum ng CMO 67 and 14. For the other one,
Maybe, if I may. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sir Samuel. With respect to the concern of Mary, dun sa presentation, to maintain the existing maritime education and training system, this refers to the PSG being implemented for our current second year and third year students. So again, CMO 67 and 14, because that's the policy direction given by the administration to revert back to CMO 67 and 14 and GCMA 02. Of course, with an enhanced version, enhanced curriculum. Yun po yung nire-refer dito, Ma'am Merly, sa presentation kanina. We will be able to address your concerns. Thank you po.
Yeah, may I just follow up on that point, Mr. Chair? Is that okay? Sandali lang po.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because you know we have institutions here that are both into education and training, and of course we also have providers among training institutions separately from the schools. I think if I may suggest, it's about time that we really have a good roadmap for for a very good MET system, an integrated MET system, and how this should be reflected in the trainings also that are being provided. Kasi parang ang nangyayari, hindi malaman kung saan ilalagay. So just I think it's about time all of this are happening. It's good for us to come up with a roadmap on how the collaboration between MET providers, between and among them, can be done. And this should be reflected also in the regulatory, so hindi po magulo. Yun lang po, I think it's best to have that in the plan. Thank you.
Duly noted, Ma'am Merly. Thank you very much po. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Merly. I guess wala na po tayong ibang mga katanungan. Pwede pa po tayong humabol. Raise lang po ng hand. Okay, so that's it. Let's proceed to the next part of the program po. Thank you everyone for actively participating in the public consultation. Rest assured that all comments will be considered in the revision of the draft memorandum circulars. As we come to the conclusion of this event, may we request once again the OIC Executive Director of the STCW Office, Mr. Samuel Batalla, for the presentation of the ways forward. Sir.
Thank you, Trets. Okay, good afternoon again to everyone. Okay, I hope the open forum serve as an avenue to clarify your questions on the amended or proposed new CHED, joint CHED-MARINA Memorandum Circulars. Okay. To properly apprise everyone, next slide please. Yeah, to properly apprise everyone with the way forward, I will be sharing the next steps, the direction of CHED and Marina, and what is to be expected from our stakeholders. So after this public consultation, the comments solicited will be studied and considered for the finalization of the new amended JCMMC by the joint TWG of CHED and Marina. Subsequently, this will undergo final review of the technical committees before presentation to the technical panel for maritime education for discussion. Through a TFPME resolution, the new JCMMC will then be endorsed for approval of the CHED Commission and Bank. Okay. So once approved in the Commission and Bank, this will be jointly signed by CHED and Marina for publication and dissemination to all stakeholders. And as I mentioned earlier, the approved joint circular will be submitted to the independent evaluation as one of our compliance to the observations of the evaluators. So as part of our regular process, CHED and Marina shall conduct an orientation to the stakeholders all the salient features, amended the provisions, and the revised CPW competences map, curriculum map, and program of study. The Marina will likewise provide an update to the European Commission on the new JCMMC in relation to the report submitted last March 2022. On the part of the MHCIs, the institution shall implement the curriculum required in this in this amended joint circular by academic year 2023-2024. Moreover, MHCI shall conduct catch-up intervention to address possible gaps between the first year curriculum under JCMMC number 1 series of 2022 and the new JCMMC. So yun po, that will be our way forward. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sir Sam. And that concludes this public consultation. We would like to thank our stakeholders who actively.
Unless CHED would like to give some statement. Okay, we would like to thank everyone for the active participation, for your attention. And maraming salamat po sa mga comments ninyo. This will surely it's evaluated, and tingin ko po ay mas mai-improve pa yung ating circular. Maraming salamat. Ma'am Ellen, still there?
Salamat po, Sir Sam. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. And ingat po tayo lahat. Thank you.
For those who still wants to raise their questions and comments po, pwede po tayo mag-send ng email sa maritime.education@ched.gov.ph and oed@marina.gov.ph. Magtatanggap po kami ng mga komento hanggang alas 5 ng hapon po sa Monday, January 30, 2023. Again, thank you everyone and have a pleasant afternoon at mabuhay ang industriyang marine.
We appreciate everyone. We appreciate all your comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, CHED, and our partners po from the maritime industry, the stakeholders. Salamat po.
Participating dito